Auto. They also offer commercial property, so retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Patriots safety Jabril Peppers, a team captain, pleaded not guilty today, 2 days after he was arrested on charges that included assault and battery, strangulation, and drug possession following a disturbance at a home early Saturday morning. Quarterback Deshaun Watson's struggles continue. The Browns are 1-4, but Coach Kevin Stefanski said they're not switching quarterbacks. ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky.
No way that anyone can tell me that Kevin Stefanski is trotting out Deshaun Watson on a consistent basis and in his heart believes that's what's best for the football team. That is 100% either an ownership or a front office decision.
Dan Orlovsky on Unsportsmanlike. Watson's in the midst of a fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract. A judge granted preliminary approval to the $2.8 billion legal settlement that would transform college sports by allowing schools to pay players. A final hearing is set for April 7th of 2025. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers expected to return from an oblique injury and start against Oklahoma Saturday. Alabama junior defensive tackle Jaheim Otis will redshirt this season and enter the NCAA transfer portal.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, Brock Purdy hasn't looked super without his friends. I'll tell you what he needs to do to silence the critics if he wants to get paid this offseason. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
What you hoped was impossible, I knew was inevitable. Welcome to your new reality. For years, I have warned you. Nick Saban made a deal with the devil. 6 national championships. 5 SEC championships. 117 and 18 in conference games. An overall record of 201 and 29. You lost 29 games total in 17 years. Nick made a deal with the devil. And now I have come to collect. Oh, ho, 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 ho. You soared after the Georgia win. But you did not heed my warning. You ignored the signs that were there, plain to see. You were in a 1-score game midway through the 4th quarter with South Florida. You blew a 28-point lead at home. You needed the heroics of an otherworldly freshman to save you from the greatest collapse in your program's history. And the history of Kalen DeBoer blowing leads is so much longer. I told you. Look, just 1 year ago, Washington led Oregon by 17 in the second half of the Pac-12 championship game. Blew that lead. Needed a miracle to win it. Led by 11 in the fourth quarter in their home field against the Ducks. Blew it. Needed a miracle to win it. Do you remember the Sugar Bowl in the college football playoff? How Washington led Texas 34-21 in the fourth quarter, only to have to survive a pass into the end zone from the 13-yard line that would have capped an improbable comeback. That is the Kalen DeBoer experience. That is your new reality. Oh, it would have been sweet to watch Georgia suffocate you for 4 quarters like they did in the second half. It would have been sweeter still had they finished off the 28-point comeback. But what better way for me to humble you than by sending the lowliest possible runt to submit you? Vanderbilt! Vanderbilt! 0-60 all time against top 5 opponents. Vanderbilt. In Nick Saban's 17 years in Tuscaloosa, he allowed a total of 13 points to Vanderbilt. Kalen DeBoer allowed 23 in the first half. 418 yards. 40 points. Vanderbilt held the football for 42 minutes and 8 seconds. Vanderbilt pummeled you into submission. And when all you needed was a stop at the end of the game to pull off another improbable, miraculous comeback, Vanderbilt ran the ball straight down your throat. You were dominated by Vanderbilt. The nerds reigned supreme. Kalen DeBoer is wearing a dry fit t-shirt on the sideline, looking like he just got done at Anytime Fitness. Ha 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 ha. That is your new reality. I've heard some of you try to hand wave this. I've heard some of you try to compare this to Nick Saban losing to ULM in 2007. What you forget is that Nick Saban inherited an Alabama team that went 6-7 under Mike Shula, lost the Independence Bowl. Nick Saban inherited a steaming pile of dung. Kalen DeBoer inherited the greatest situation in the history of college football. The most dominant, most stable program ever from the greatest coach ever. And in 1 month's time, you've already seen it up. Welcome to your new reality. A world where you lose to Vanderbilt. A world where you are no longer feared. A world where you are mere mortals like all the rest. 1 week ago, I told you you were entering your Les Miles era. You laughed. You jeered. You criticized. I told you. I have lived this world of head-scratching wins, confounding losses, frustrating Saturdays, leaving the stadium after a win, wondering how. I told you Les Miles was a good coach. Won a national championship. Played for another. He only lost because of the deal Nick Saban made with the devil. Won 2 SEC titles. Played for a third. Averaged 9 wins over more than a decade in a conference and a division where he had to look at Nick Saban every single year. But it didn't change the frustration felt by so many for so long, knowing it could have been more. And that is your new reality. The reality that it will never, ever be as good as it was. Your charmed existence is over. Your life atop college football's throne is finished. Your greatest day as a football fan has been lived. It will only be down from here. Oh, Kalen DeBoer will win games. But he will lose. Many. You will find the likes of Vanderbilt standing supreme over your rotting carcass more often than ever before. If you are frustrated by Saturday's result, understand this. That is your new reality. A world where Vanderbilt can beat you. A world where you blow 28-point leads on your home field. A world where South Florida plays you toe-to-toe for 3.5 quarters. Sure, there will be wins, but the losses will follow. Nick Saban's deal with the devil is due. I've come to collect. Welcome to yours.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Check out our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air. You'll see the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side all over town because your friends and neighbors trust River City's 1 Hour Air the same way I do. Hey, look, we're getting closer to fall weather. Before you know it, we'll be telling you about the heater safety checks, but still right now, while it's warm outside, if you have issues with your HVAC unit, if your AC isn't cooling properly, if you have an issue, call our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air. They'll get you on the schedule, and when a technician's coming out, remember, you'll get a call, a text, and an email alerting you the technician's on the way. You get the name of the technician, a photo of that technician, and reviews of that technician so you know exactly who is coming into your home. Think of everything to make you comfortable, both inside and out. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, you know, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, you know. We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
We're excited about the opportunity to go up to Kansas City. I don't think anybody has to tell you that it's a hell of a team. All 3 phases, they do a great job. Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame quarterback, defensive coordinator, who's probably one of the best in our league. So they execute at a high level. The stadium is a tough environment to play in, so it's a huge challenge for us.
Dennis Allen meeting with reporters. Muse, I'm hearing an echo. Dennis Allen meeting with reporters there as the Saints get ready to play Monday Night Football against the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, welcome in. We are here at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at L'Auberge. The theatrics as we open the show, as one would like. What in the world else do you think I would have started the show with today after Alabama lost to Vanderbilt? Of course, that's where we were going to start. Hope you enjoyed it. And because we're here on location, I had to record that earlier in the day. But nonetheless, great job, everybody. We appreciate you for being here with us. We talk tons of Saints Chiefs. Our Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. But let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, so it is Saints Chiefs Monday Night Football tonight. And over the weekend, look, everything, of course, got delayed because of Monday Night Football, so the whole schedule was backed up a little bit. But if you're following along over the weekend, the injury report was certainly bad news for New Orleans. There's no other way to put it. You're going to play the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. This is the 2-time back-to-back defending Super Bowl champion. And you're going to Arrowhead, prime time, in it's a really tough environment to play in, and you're going to be super shorthanded. So we learned over the weekend that Willie Gay was going to miss this game, out with that hand injury. And then we learned on Sunday that Pete Werner is also out for the game. The good news, DeMario Davis looks like he is going to be back and ready to go. He was a full participant at practice on Saturday, but that means at linebacker opposite Demario Davis, with Werner and Willie Gay both out, that means you're leaning on Anthony Orji, DeMarco Jackson. You're going to ask somebody who hasn't had to play a big role for this defense to step up big time against Patrick Mahomes and that offense. On top of that, Peyton Turner is out. That's a loss for your defensive line. But I would say defensively, I think the Saints, even down the two linebackers, should still be okay. And I know that sounds so odd considering we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, the Kansas City Chiefs, but the reality is this Chiefs team throughout the start of this season has been quite average. When you look at the yards per game, they're smack dab in the middle of the league at 328 total yardage per game. The Saints are 2 spots ahead at 349. Saints had 2 fantastic games, obviously, and then 2 very average to bad games. If you look at scoring offense, same thing with Kansas City. The Saints still lead the NFL in scoring per game at 31.8, but the Chiefs right there in the middle again, they are at 23 points per game. And, boy, they've had to escape each of their games because offensively they've struggled to get going. They beat the Ravens on that Thursday night to open the season 27-20, I mean, by literal toe. I mean, it was ruled a touchdown in the back of the end zone upon review, or after further review. The Ravens receiver, I believe it was Zay Flowers, his toe was just on the back line. They rallied to beat Cincinnati 26-25. That was a game at home at Arrowhead. They played the Falcons in prime time, only scored 22 points. And remember, the Falcons had a shot in the end zone to win it there at the end. And then last week against the Chargers, a game where they lost Rashee Rice due to injury, they won that game just 17-10. So this is a Chiefs offense whose high watermark this season is when they played Baltimore at home in the opener when they scored 27. The Saints defense, even without Willie Gay, Pete Werner, I think is plenty good enough to go on the road, travel, and limit that Kansas City offense, which really has struggled. They're not going to have Rashee Rice. Obviously, Isaac Pacheco has been lost for some time due to the leg injury. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not going to be active. Kareem Hunt is going to start at running back tonight for Kansas City. But they're still finding themselves offensively. The Chiefs are. That's a team that's now they're 4-0 because they know how to win. I mean, they're amazing winners. That's why they know how to pace themselves throughout a season and peak at the right time, but they also have closed all of these very close games. It's the antithesis of the Saints, who the last 2 weeks have found ways to lose games late. So all that to say, defensively, I feel fine about New Orleans defensively in this ball game against that Kansas City offense. The real challenge for New Orleans is what in the world are you going to be offensively? This is a game where, if you have not heard yet, the New Orleans Saints are going to be starting their third center in as many games. So, of course, Eric McCoy got hurt against the Eagles. Lucas Patrick filled in for the remainder of the football game. Last week against Atlanta, Shane Lemieux was signed from the practice squad, started. Now Shane Lemieux is out for this game tonight with an ankle injury. They signed Connor McGovern off the Jets practice squad, and it is looking like Connor McGovern is going to start at center for the New Orleans Saints. Either way, this is going to be your third starting center and fourth center overall in the last 3 games. The thing we talk about all the time here, it's the old Buddy D, Mike D angle about teams that lose their starting center fail to cover 80% of the time the week that they lose their starting center. Well, now you've lost your third center. So asking a guy like Connor McGovern to come, who's played a lot of football in his career, but to come in from the Jets practice squad midweek, and then start on Monday Night Football against Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, it's very clear that you can just draw a line between the two halves of this season for New Orleans so far. The first 2 games, when their offensive line was intact, their wide zone scheme was outstanding. The Saints were scoring more than 40 a game. Eric McCoy got hurt 3 snaps into the Eagles game, and we have seen this offense just really struggle since. I don't know that I have a tremendous amount of confidence in this makeshift offensive line, however it's going to look. Probably Connor McGovern at center, Lucas Patrick at left guard, who, by the way, Lucas Patrick this week was on the injury report with a groin injury. and he's questionable. He could be out for this ball game. So you could have Connor McGovern at center, Nick Saldiveri at left guard, Landon Young at right guard. How can you even be upset with this team if they struggle to move the football with that interior of your line against that Kansas City defensive front? Just a very, very difficult ask for this team going on the road, seeing if they can find a way to get something going offensively. The Saints are a 5.5-point dog. We're here at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook inside of L'Auberge. We'll see if that line moves as we get closer. For what it's worth, here's what Dennis Allen said when he met with reporters on Saturday about Connor McGovern, the offensive lineman they signed off the Jets practice squad, and what they liked about him.
Well, he's got experience. He's played in this league. He started a lot of games in this league, and he's been in the system. JB's coached him, Rico's coached him, so, there's a lot of familiarity with the player.
JB, of course, John Benton, who's the Saints offensive line coach, has familiarity with him, maybe easing that transition because of some of the terminology, the expectation blocking schemes, but that's still... Oh, man. That is just a massive ask. This feels most comparable. It's not a what and what, but it feels most comparable to that Monday night in 2021 when the Saints had to start Ian Book against the Miami Dolphins, when half the roster and coaching staff seemingly was out due to COVID protocol. I don't know what I can realistically expect from this offense, but I think the best case for New Orleans in this game is if the defense plays the way that they've been playing so far this season, you keep this a low-scoring, manageable game, and you find a way to go make plays in the fourth quarter and try to steal you a football game. There's a lot on the line for New Orleans because of Atlanta's win over Tampa, as much as it sucks to see Atlanta win a football game, but because Atlanta beat Tampa, a win tonight for New Orleans pulls the Saints even with Atlanta and Tampa in the division at 3-2. Saints are 1-1 in the division right now, and you get Tampa in New Orleans next week. There is a huge opportunity for the Saints tonight if they can capitalize, but they're going to be really up against it. Primetime, Arrowhead, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, defending champs, all that stuff, and with this makeshift offensive line and no Taysom Hill as well. We'll follow it and continue to get you set for it, leading you all the way up until 6 o'clock when we're done here. And we'll be hanging out for the rest of the night here at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at L'Auberge, watching tonight's Monday Night Football game. So inviting you to come on out and join us for the game. We'll be here with our friends at Mockler Beverage and Bud Light. We got our VIP winners that'll be here, but everyone is invited to come. We've got 1045 ESPN swag, hats, shirts, some Parish Construction Roofing hats and shirts as well if you want. So come on out. We'll have tons of swag, and we look forward to seeing everybody. Hey, our show's brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020. 924-2020. If you want to see 2020, call my buddy Dr. Blake Williamson over at the Williamson Eye Center. Just go for that free consultation. I tell you about it all the time, but it's so worth it. If you want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, no matter your age or your refractive issue, the Williamson Eye Center can help. But it starts with that consultation. Look, at the Williamson Eye Center, they're full service, eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. So you need to have your eye exam, Williamson Eye Center. You wear contacts or glasses, they can replace your prescription, update your prescription, sell you the contacts and glasses. But if you want to ditch those forever, you want to wake up in the morning, there's my snap. I don't know, my snap wasn't working. There it is. And just see, the Williamson Eye Center can make that happen. 924-2020. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com. Meanwhile, Andy Reid did talk about the Chiefs injury report. I'll run through it real quick, Muse, before we get to that audio. There were no players ruled out for Kansas City. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was limited all week. He was officially listed as doubtful on Saturday. And then Mecole Hardman, questionable. He was limited Thursday, did not practice Friday, was full on Saturday. But other than that, a mostly healthy Kansas City Chiefs team, aside from the injuries we've already talked about, obviously being without Rashee Rice, without Isaac Pacheco. But we'll follow that along. Here was Andy Reid on his team's health.
Really, everybody went today. Mecole, we have listed as questionable, but he practiced the whole practice. Clyde will be listed as doubtful, but had a good week of practice. Good to get him back in the swing of things. And I believe that's Mike Dana did practice today, so he did good.
Saints and Chiefs, it is a 7:15 Central Time kickoff. Chiefs are a 5.5-point home favorite. You want to wager? You can do it right here at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook inside LeBears. Y'all come hang out with us for the game tonight. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We'll go around the SEC. We'll get to what we learned. Also coming up here in a bit, Peter Burns, 1 hour from right now. We will go to Kansas City. Our guy Ross Jackson is live there, boots on the ground. In hour 3, we'll get you a scene setter from Arrowhead. Looking forward to it. Glad to have you hanging out with us here on this Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows.
AFR
is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. You know where to find them. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Y'all, we are, I'm bad at math. What's 31 minus 7? We're like 3 weeks away. Thursday will be 3 weeks from Halloween. You want to decorate for Halloween at your house? Now's the time to do it. Get on by and see our friends at Clegg's Nursery. Pumpkins and hay bales and squash and gourds and scarecrows and witches and all the stuff. They got all the stuff that you could possibly want to beautify your home and to add that pop of flair and flavor this Halloween and this fall. Clegg's has all of it. Your fall vegetable gardens, time to get those Johnny Naylor seeds in the ground. Your fall bedding plants are here as well. It's time, y'all. We're changing seasons, so you want to get those oranges and greens and browns, those earth tones. Clegg's can help you do it. Get by any of their locations. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
A great challenge for us. We're excited about it. We know where we're at in terms of the next 7 weeks. We have SEC opponents. Our team is, again, excited about the challenge of playing at home in Tiger Stadium, and looking forward to a Saturday night in Tiger Stadium on national television. That's why you come to LSU, and we're excited about the matchup.
Brian Kelly on Monday, kicking off game week, LSU and Ole Miss Saturday in Tiger Stadium. They'll celebrate officially the 100-year anniversary of Tiger Stadium, and what better way to do it than with one of the great rivalries in LSU football history with the Tigers and the Ole Miss Rebels. Ole Miss will come in here as one of the top teams in college football, a top 10 team in college football. And after having beaten South Carolina this last weekend 27-3, and this was a game where they were never really threatened. They got up 14-0 in the first quarter. They went to half 24-3, and then Ole Miss put up a field goal in the third quarter and then put it in cruise control the rest of the way because they got a little banged up. There's a couple of observations. I know we always try to do the transitive property thing and the comparative analysis because LSU played at South Carolina, got down 17, rallied and won, and Ole Miss played a decidedly different game where they really just put their thumb on Ole Miss from start to finish. And one of the things I told you was very adamant about before LSU went to South Carolina is that Lenora Sellers is not a very good quarterback right now, and he's not. I know what happened when LSU went there, but the reality is in that game, LSU allowed one sustained drive, that opening drive of the game. And honestly, on the opening play of the game, Harold Perkins missed a tackle in the flat on the tight end. Otherwise, that's a TFL right there. How different does that drive go? I don't know. It's revisionist history at this point. But, I mean, they had two long runs on busted coverage, on busted plays. So, has LSU eliminated those busted plays? Aside from that, Lenore Sellers didn't impress, and he was bad the other night. He was 20 of 32 for 162 and a pick. I mean, he's just not a very good college quarterback. He's a good athlete, and he's a young player, and I think he's going to get better. He's just not a very good quarterback right now. Ole Miss was efficient in that football game. If you didn't watch it, Ole Miss put up 425 yards of offense. They showed good balance. They threw it for 285. They ran it for 140. That's what you kind of expect from Lane Kiffin. The thing that last week when we talked about South Carolina Ole Miss, and people were asking, well, who do you want to win? Do you want Ole Miss to win or lose coming into Baton Rouge? I didn't really care. I don't know that either way. I mean, I wanted Ole Miss to lose. I want anybody ahead of LSU to lose who clears the deck. But from a mindset, a preparation angle, the only thing, I don't know that it really mattered. The thing that I really felt mattered was Ole Miss going to play a very physical football game. Because the Kentucky game was a brutal physical game, and we told you at the end of last week when Lane Kiffin put out the injury report before Ole Miss went to South Carolina, they had 30 players on their injury report. And I'll tell you, man, they got roughed up a little bit there in Columbia. Walter Nolan, their fantastic defensive lineman from Texas A&M, left with injury. J.J. Pequise, another interior defensive lineman, left with injury. He did return. Maybe the most significant was Trey Harris, who's their outstanding wide receiver, left with I don't know that they gave it an official designation, knee, ankle. It was a leg injury, and it did not look good. He did not return to the ball game. As a matter of fact, Lane Kiffin was asked for an update on Trey Harris. Here's what Lane Kiffin had to say about the wide receiver's injury.
I mean, we don't, as you guys know, we don't really get into much detail on that. He couldn't finish the first half and wasn't really close to going back in the second half. And he certainly wouldn't be playing today. So, we got to get the other guys ready. We got to perform better than we did in the second half without him. We only had 3 points. Now, we only threw one pass in the fourth quarter. But that makes us move people in different spots when he's out. So, we're preparing to do that and preparing to play without him.
I mean, he started by saying we don't usually tell you much, but then finished by telling you they're preparing to play without him. I think we'll see what happens, and you never want to, guys, listen, I'm not sitting here victory lapping a young guy, especially a great player like that, getting injured. Clearly, I want him to be healthy and be great and go have an awesome career. We have to talk about the impact, though, of Ole Miss's leading receiver, being injured in that game and potentially not being available when the thing we're so concerned about with LSU is being exposed at the corner and safety spot. So if you take a player like Trey Harris off the field, I mean, Harris had a 57-yard reception in that game. He had 3 for 81. He is their best receiver. So you take Trey Harris away from Ole Miss, yes, that matters. So that's going to be one we follow as the week goes along. We'll go around the SEC in just a sec. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. If you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. They like to say at Michelli, we show the world what measurement can do. Dozens of different industries, from agriculture and aggregates to food and beverage to really anything, aerospace, all of it. If you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. Got Bud Light bottles right here on the set. How much force should it take to open that twist top? Well, that's something that has to be calibrated by a device. Those machines have to be calibrated, and Michelli calibrates those. So it doesn't matter what it may be, Michelli can help. Michelli.com, Michelli. More than a dozen locations more than 30 locations across a dozen different states. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. All right, Muse, hit it around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Alabama junior defensive tackle Jaheim Otis plans to redshirt and enter the transfer portal. That comes from ESPN's Pete Thamel. Started 13 games the first 2 seasons with the Crimson Tide, reportedly leaving the program due to playing time. Otis's agent confirmed Thamel's report 2-on-3. He's played a total of 25 snaps against Wisconsin and Georgia. Did not play in Alabama's upset loss to Vanderbilt on Saturday due to what is described as a minor knee injury.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
4-star offensive tackle Mario Nash has decommitted from Mississippi State, out of the state of Mississippi. Pledged to the in-state Bulldogs since June 23rd. Chose them over Clemson, LSU, and Ole Miss, but took an official visit to Florida State over the weekend. 6'4", 270 pounds, number 270 overall prospect, number 22 offensive tackle in the 2025 cycle per on 3. Nash was Mississippi State's 3rd highest ranked prospect in the 2025 class.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss has made an addition to their 2025 schedule. That would be Washington State. That comes after Wake Forest canceled their game with Ole Miss back in September. The game with Wake Forest was supposed to be played on September 13th, 2025. The Washington State Ole Miss game is expected to be played on that same date.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
4-star 2026 tight end Jamal House commits to Shane Beamer and South Carolina over the weekend. On Saturday, to be specific, chose the Gamecocks over Louisville, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, Cincinnati, and others. Commitment number 4 for Shane Beamer in the class of 2026. On 3, ranks House the nation's number 9 tight end and number 198 overall prospect. He is the number 2 prospect in the state of South Carolina.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
And we'll wrap it up. Vanderbilt, to celebrate their upset victory over Alabama, is auctioning off memorabilia from the game, including pieces of the goalpost. A 4-inch piece of the goalpost, currently listed with a price tag of $1,005. Sheesh. 8-inch piece going for $4,035 up there in Vanderbilt. But wait, there's more. You could also get the game-used pylons. You can get a helmet, a game-used helmet with a personalized autograph from Clark Lee on it. As of publication of the auction, that helmet has already cleared $13,000. Vanderbilt Football School. That's around the SEC.
Hey, Muse, I can confirm that the pieces of the goalposts are actually sold out. Because Russ Mitchell, I will read you this text. He who loves all his children the same. Russ Mitchell sent me a photo, a link. Where is it? Oh, no. He sent me a link that he did it on DM. That's where he did it. He sent me a DM. This was at I don't know what he was doing at 4:01 a.m., but he bought this at 4:01 a.m. He said just bought a goalpost piece, and he has a screen grab of it. And then at 9:58 a.m., he said, so smart to have done that when I did, all gone. Apparently the goalpost pieces are sold out. That's so good.
That's incredible.
Oh, man. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Ups and downs for the two Heisman-winning quarterbacks over at LSU. Jaden Daniels, another magnificent performance in a win. Joe Burrow was otherworldly, threw for over 300 yards and 5 touchdowns, but the Bengals fell. But I happened to be driving. I was driving Drew to the mall. We do our Sunday mall visit where he loves to ride the elevators and everything. And so I was listening to the Bengals-Ravens, and I heard the Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase deep touchdown pass, and they gave a little hat tip to LSU. Give a listen.
15 seconds to go. Snap back. Burrow sets up. Going to go deep. Looking for the end zone. Right side. He's got a man. Touchdown. Jamar Chase. 41 yards.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah, I realized right whenever you said that.
At the end of the clip, they talk about LSU and Baton Rouge. Anyway, all right, so we didn't have actually the part of the clip I wanted. No worries. It's after further review. We're here at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook, Saints-Chiefs Monday Night Football. Y'all come hang out with us tonight for the game. We'll be here to the very end of the game. Our friends at Mockler Beverage and Bud Light are going to be here as well. Our 8 VIP winners are going to be here. But even if you're not a VIP winner, no worries. We got tons of stuff. Someone, not necessarily VIPs, someone who's here tonight is going to win tickets in the Bud Light Lounge for the Saints-Rams game in the Dome. Someone is going to win tickets to LSU-Ole Miss. And we have a commemorative Jaden Daniels Heisman football. These are all just going to be named, drawn out of a hat, different various points of the game. So if you're looking for something to do tonight for Saints-Chiefs Monday Night Football, come hang with us here at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at L'Auberge. Quick break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 1 with our What We Learned. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 amazing hotel properties, Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown on Bluebonnet, actually not far from where we are here at L'Auberge. But remember, the Renaissance this Friday, day before an LSU home game. You know Brian Kelly wants to get the guys away from their apartments, away from their on-campus distractions. So the day before a game, the LSU football Tigers go set up shop, have the entire organization moved to the Renaissance Hotel. It's big enough to host the entire LSU football program. It's big enough for your event, whatever that event may be. So if you're interested, if you're having maybe some type of charity event, a fundraiser, an awards banquet, maybe it's a wedding reception, whatever it may be, corporate meeting, board meeting, the Renaissance Hotel, they say we're in the business of saying yes. They'll configure their space to meet your needs. It's the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet, downtown Watermark, Bluebonnet, the Renaissance.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. Monday shows brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. They do it all. Relief Windows, ReliefWindows.com. Brian Kelly met with reporters here to kick off Ole Miss week, so we will dive deep into that coming up after sports. And we have Peter Burns about 40 minutes from right now. In an hour 3, we will head up to Kansas City. Our guy Ross Jackson from LouisianaSports.net. They're covering the games. We'll get a scene setter from Arrowhead Stadium in hour number 3. Every Thursday, Muse, Paulie, and I give you 3 things to keep an eye on during the football weekend. We call it What to Watch. We always come back on Monday and tell you what we learned. Hit it, Muse.
We watched. Now, let's review.
All right. Well, one thing I was interested to watch this weekend was if there was going to be any letdown for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I mean, they had they had blown a 28-point lead, but managed to escape against Georgia at home. Big win. Fan base was all riled up. Now you're going on the road to a sleepy Vanderbilt team, Nashville. Not a really hard place to play. Nick Saban said so himself, leading into the game. And sure enough, there was a letdown. Don't know if you saw. Alabama lost this weekend to Vanderbilt, 40-35. So yes, there was in fact a letdown.
I was watching Ole Miss, South Carolina. The Rebels bounced back in a big way to knock off the Gamecocks. Jackson Dart throws for 285, but all 3 touchdowns came on the ground. 2 were by big man, defensive tackle J.J. Pegues. How do you say it?
Correct.
LSU, Ole Miss, this Saturday. That's it.
I told you that the Miami Dolphins had not led for a single second through 4 weeks. That changed. The Dolphins did kick a field goal at the 10:39 mark of the first quarter to take a 3-0 lead on the Patriots. They wouldn't lead again after the Patriots scored with 3:55 to go in the first. The Patriots led the entire game until the Miami Dolphins scored the game-winning touchdown with 4:24 to go in the game. Dolphins beat the Pats 15-10, but finally it took to week 5, but they had a lead in regulation.
Yeah, wanted to watch Bengals and Ravens as well, man. It's always a hotly contested battle. Lamar Jackson 8-1 in his career against the Bengals going into Sunday. Well, now he's 9-1. Bengals lost it in overtime, had multiple 10-point leads. It's just really disappointing. Joe Burrow saying they're not a championship team. Of course not. Oh, and by the way, Alabama lost to Vanderbilt.
A big one in the AFC, Bills-Texans. Houston was pulling away early in the first half. Buffalo did make a comeback in the third quarter. They tied it up in the fourth until Hakeem Farbarn, his 59-yard field goal as time expired, lifted Houston to victory. Stephon Diggs led the Texans with 6 catches, 82 yards against his former team.
Yeah, since no one else said it, I would. Jaden Daniels was all the rage through the first 4 weeks of the season and did nothing to disappoint. 238 yards, a passing touchdown. He did throw an interception, but Washington boat raced the Cleveland Browns 34-13, and JD5 is now getting not only Rookie of the Year conversation, but legitimate MVP talk.
Yeah, Rutgers and Nebraska was a sneaky good game. You didn't watch it, though, because Alabama was losing to Vanderbilt in the opposite window of that game. So I'll tell you what happened. Really ugly Big Ten football game. 3 turnovers. Nobody hit 300 yards. Nebraska got a big win, though, 14-7. 3 of their next 4 on the road against ranked teams.
I was watching Raiders-Broncos, not so much for the game, but the Devontae Adams updates. Turns out he didn't even play. He was dealing with a hamstring injury. Broncos rout the Raiders. Pat Surtain, 100-yard, pick 6. Broncos come to New Orleans next Thursday.
And I asked, is Missouri real? We got our answer. They are not. Missouri got boat raced by Texas A&M 41-10. They are more the team that was a shanked field goal away from losing to Vanderbilt than they are a top 10 team, and their schedule is not going to get any easier. Missouri, if you look what's ahead, contrary to what we thought at the beginning of the season, they still have to go to Alabama. They have a home game against Oklahoma. They got games at South Carolina, at Mississippi State, then home against Arkansas. More losses to come for the nerd coach there at Missouri. Hey, we're brought to you by Evermore. Drink Evermore, y'all. Natural artesian water, a better source of hydration. I have mine every day on the set, but I, more importantly, drink Evermore every day. That's one of the changes I've made in my life. I would highly recommend it for you and your family as well. If nothing else, the next time you're at the grocery store, you're going down the water aisle, just grab a case of Evermore, try incorporating it into your week and see how different you feel. Or buy online at evermore.com, EVAMOR, evermore.com. Drink Evermore. Okay, y'all, hour number 2, stare you straight in the face. Don't move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Supper Club closed today. Remember, they're closed Sunday, Monday, reopen on Tuesday. But what I would really love to get you ready for is Thursday. Remember, Thursday is the day. I want you to put this on your calendar. I want you to book a reservation now. If it's this Thursday or next Thursday or whenever it may be, they're going to crack open a rare bottle of wine, a fine bottle of wine, and sell it by the ounce. We're talking about bottles of wine worth thousands of dollars that you can try for tens of dollars by the ounce. Also, Thursday, maybe even more importantly, is when Chef Layton busts out the prime rib feature. This is a 21-day, dry-aged, bone-in ribeye served up as prime rib. Absolutely exquisite. Thursday only. It's $150, but it can feed 3 to 4 people, so by the head, it's really affordable. Make Thursday prime rib night over at Supper Club. Book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com. Again, supperclubbtr.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Game 2 American League Division Series. Detroit's Tarek Skubal, 9 up, 9 down, 6 strikeouts. Cleveland's Matthew Boyd, 2 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Tigers and Guardians scoreless, top 4. The Raiders mulling a quarterback change for the Steelers game Sunday. Gardner Minshew benched in favor of Aiden O'Connell late yesterday. Coach Antonio Pierce, meantime, said receiver Devontae Adams' situation remains status quo. Adams has requested a trade. As the 1-4 Bengals get ready to take on the Giants in Week 6, a brutally honest take on where the team stands from franchise quarterback Joe Burrow said they're not a championship-level squad. Unsportsmanlike co-host Chris Canty.
They're a 1-4 team. Bill Parcells said it a long time ago. You are what your record says you are. And the record says the Cincinnati Bengals stink. Joe Burrow said, yeah, we're not playing championship football. Yeah, newsflash, we all know that. Maybe you're the last ones to figure it out. You're not a good football team.
A judge granted preliminary approval to the $2.78 billion legal settlement that would transform college sports by allowing schools to pay players. A final hearing set for April 7th, 2025.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty. Coming up Tuesday, Brock Purdy hasn't looked super without his friends. I'll tell you what he needs to do to silence the critics if he wants to get paid this offseason. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. Matt Moscona here at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at L'Auberge in Baton Rouge. Excited to be here with our friends at Mockler Beverage. We'll have our Monday Night Football game watch party. Tons of Bud Light flowing. We'll have free food for our VIP winners, VIP seating as well. But even if you are not one of our VIPs, please still come out. If you're looking for a place to watch the game, the giant screen will be here. Show Monday Night Football will be here until the end of the game, and we'll have giveaways throughout the game as well. So someone here tonight is going to win Bud Light Lounge tickets for the Saints-Rams game. Someone is going to win a pair of tickets to LSU-Ole Miss this weekend. Someone is going to win a commemorative Jaden Daniels Heisman football from Nyko Sports, which I know I have around here somewhere. Anyway, I'll put it up on the set in a little bit if it's somewhere around here. Anyway, so just come hang out here for the game tonight, Monday Night Football. We'll look forward to seeing you. Okay, Peter Burns, bottom of this hour, and we'll talk some Saints Chiefs here again in about 15 minutes. Brian Kelly met with reporters on Monday to kick off Ole Miss week, and I think probably the first question that many of us want to know the answer to is the health of some key players. When Brian Kelly was asked last week about Caden Durham and Zy Alexander and C.J. Daniels, he wasn't very forthcoming. He said, I don't have to give an injury report during the open date, so I'm not going to. So he didn't. And when he was asked on Monday about the status of those players, he was very similarly pithy with his reply.
Are Caden, CJ, and Zy expected to practice this week?
Yes.
All three?
Yes.
That's all he's given you. Yes, they're expected to practice. To reiterate, C.J. Daniels, it was a knee injury. Brian Kelly was pretty forthcoming there, saying they kind of feared the worst. Daniels had an ACL in the past, but it was not that. It was as good a news as they possibly could have gotten. We talked about him last week. C.J. Daniels has really become a security blanket for Garrett Nussmeier. Actually, his Pro Football Focus grade for drops is the best among on the LSU team, meaning he catches his targets. His drop rate is the lowest. And he's got 20 receptions on the season, so he's averaging 4 catches a game. So you don't want to lose a veteran, experienced guy like that. It looks good there. Zy Alexander was in the concussion protocol. Fully expect to have him available this week, which is fantastic news, especially against that offense, that Ole Miss offense, where Jackson Dart and those receivers are going to challenge you in the passing game. And then there's Caden Durham, and that's the real concerning one because as we reported at LouisianaSports.net, Caden Durham suffered 2 dislocated toes. Now, against South Alabama, he returned to the game and played the rest of the half, but then missed the second half. You can go WebMD it about what it's like if you dislocate toes, and the prognosis ain't great. But that's probably just for Joes like you and me if you dislocate a toe. But whenever you have premium treatment and health care and you're trying to get ramped up to be competitive, I would venture a guess that they're going to have him ready to go for this one this weekend with Ole Miss coming in. But we'll continue to follow that as the week goes along. Brian Kelly was pretty clear there that they'll all practice this week, and that's something he has to disclose on the injury report now. So we'll continue to follow it. And it's just so important because the big development offensively for LSU from game 1 to now, obviously, is that they found a semblance of a running game. And when you think back to the Southern Cal game in the opener when they lost 27-20, it really wasn't until the third quarter when John Emery started to emerge in that third quarter that you felt like you found a running game. And then a week later, John Emery tears his ACL, and you'd kind of been searching for it. And we saw Caden Durham with his opportunity pop against Missouri and then was fantastic on the first 2 touches of the game against South Alabama. So if you have found balance in your offense, that only makes you more dynamic. I mean, you don't need to spell this out for you. It's just Garrett Nussmeier is right now one of the leading quarterbacks in the country in all of the major statistical categories. He's second right now in completions. He's third in touchdowns. He's one of the tops in completion percentage as well, passing yardage. So, yeah, you're talking about a guy that, forgive me. That was before the bye. So now, let me rephrase this. That was going into the bye. Obviously, he didn't play this weekend. So now he's 7th in passing yardage. But going into the bye, he was higher. So he's 7th in passing yardage. He is 5th in touchdowns, and he is looking for 5th in completions as well. So those numbers dropped, obviously, with him being idle this week, but obviously playing this week, it'll go back up. I don't think there's many LSU, looking at this through an LSU prism or an LSU lens, I don't think there's many of us who are concerned about LSU's ability to move the football against Ole Miss. I think that we all think, look, the offensive line is great. They've allowed 2 sacks through 5 games. Garrett Nussmeier and those receivers have been, I just went through the statistics for you, they've been great all year. LSU's going to move the ball offensively. They're going to move the ball. They're at home. They're going to score points. The bigger question is, what do you look like defensively? And for Lane Kiffin in that offense, which likes to go tempo, which has been balanced, and up until the Kentucky game was arguably the best offense in college football, how does the LSU defense match up against that offense specifically? Well, a big part of that is going to be what you do in the secondary. And Brian Kelly was asked about how they evaluated their personnel during the bye, because if you remember, he talked about after the South Alabama game, they had been rotating guys freely, and this was going to be the opportunity, that Tuesday of the open day when they started preparing for this game, that they weren't going to be rolling guys in and out anymore. They were going to have to decide who the ones are that they were going to count on. Here's what Brian Kelly said on Monday about how they went about evaluating their personnel during the bye.
The first thing you do is an exhaustive self-scout, right? What are your tendencies? What tendencies do you need to break? And are there things there that you're doing really well that you want to build on, or not so well that you need to certainly work on in the bye week? Then it's the evaluation of, the body of work through those first 5 weeks. Who are the guys that have built that trust that you can put on the field? So as you go into these 7 weeks of SEC opponents, those are the guys that you want on the field. So I think we've done both from a technical and tactical standpoint, the work necessary, and then from a personnel standpoint, who are the guys that we want to put on the field? That's been really a lot of the work this past week.
So who are the guys in particular at safety? That was the follow-up, how they're looking there on the back end at safety, where that's just frankly been the spot where they've had the most issues.
Well, I think we found them. I think it now becomes, for us more than anything else, is what do those rotations look like? And I think I said this last week. I don't think anybody's in a position that they're going to play 70 plays, right? So, what do those rotations look like? Is it a first, second down rotation? Is it a third down? Is it a nickel dime? Is it a pass rush situation? Is it a short yardage? So it's really kind of delineating out who's on the field in what situations. And I think we've got a better understanding of that, and it's much more clear, moving forward.
If I asked you which offense that LSU has played up to this point most resembles Ole Miss, I think you'd probably agree with me. And when I say Southern Cal, Miller Moss at quarterback, comparable to Jack Starr, who started his career at Southern Cal, incidentally. Two great play callers, Lincoln Riley, Lane Kiffin, calling the shots. Some elite level receiver talent, talented running backs as well. You got an SEC transfer at running back at Southern Cal and Woody Marks. So I think you'd agree. I think that you would agree that the offense LSU has played so far that most resembles Ole Miss would be Southern Cal. And that was a day where Southern Cal moved the football. They had success. Put up 447 yards, but 378 was through the air and just 69 on the ground. I think LSU is going to try to replicate that game plan, where you make them, and now Ole Miss can go fast, but where you make them have to methodically go down the field in these 8, 9, 10 play drives. And if they finish those drives, okay, but you hope you hold them to 3 instead of 7, and you hope it also shortens the game a little bit so you're not in a track meet like what happened a year ago. All that to say, LSU held that Lincoln Riley offense to 27 points. If you hold Ole Miss to 27 this weekend, I think you're going to be you have a great chance to win this football game, if you can do it. I mean, it was 10-10 at halftime. You went into the fourth quarter leading 17-13 in that game against Southern Cal, and they were sitting on 20 points until Woody Marks scored the game-winning touchdown with 8 seconds left. So all that to say, as daunting as it may seem because of some of the defensive issues, this defense, before you even had all the pieces, you did not have Zy Alexander in that game. I mean, Sage Ryan was playing boundary corner. He's now back at safety. You had not yet seen Deshaun Spears start to play. You still had Harold Perkins, and you were trying him at off-ball linebacker at that point. You hadn't moved him to star. You still, of course, had Jacoby and Guillory, but Dominic McKinley was not available. We had not yet seen Ahmad Bro's emergence. So I think where you are now compared to where you were 5 weeks ago, you know your personnel much better. I think Blake Baker is in a much better position to be able to call and implement a defense. And I think structurally you're going to be facing an offense that's very similar to one you've already seen and had success against. Not in that dominant success, but where you had success. So I know as we look at it, it appears daunting, and LSU is a 3-point home dog this weekend against Ole Miss. But I think this may be one, as we're all looking at offense, especially with how that game a year ago played out in Oxford, the 55-49 ball game. I think both coaches are going to try to avoid that result again. Maybe try to control the line of scrimmage. You might be in for a lower scoring game in Tiger Stadium on Saturday. The total is 64.5. And as I look at it right now with ESPN Bet, it's actually Ole Miss 2.5. So that number's come down just a smidge. But you may see a game where these coaches are trying to aim for a game in the 20s instead of the 30s or 40s. Of course, we'll see how it goes as we get closer. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Peter Burns here in 16 minutes from right now. We're glad you're here with us. Let me knock out our first break of hour number 2. When we come back, we'll talk a little more Saints and Chiefs as the Hoodats try to get back to their winning ways. We'll see if they can do it. We'll talk about it more next. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. You know where to find them. Agent225.com, agent225.com. I was checking out my guy DJ. He was on Facebook last week, checking out all of his social media, and he was at some conference speaking somewhere in the world at a real estate conference, because when you are quite literally the number 13 realtor in the country, in volume, number 1 in the state of Louisiana, when you're one of the top realtors in America, there's a lot of people who try to find out the secret sauce, the secrets to your success. And Darren's so great and generous with his time and his knowledge, and loves helping people and lifting people up. Says it all the time to me. He says, Matt, my goal is to make my job useless, to build a system and a foundation and a process that's so simple for the homeowner, for the seller, that you don't even need realtors anymore. But in the meantime, if you need to sell your home, you know you need a realtor. You better call Darren James. Go to agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Back from the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at L'Auberge. Big shout out to our friends at Mockler Beverage, Bud Light. Every quarter, we do some type of on-premise event with our friends at Mockler Beverage and Bud Light. You might remember back in June, we had a great event with the Dustin Poirier fight right here at L'Auberge, the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. So we're thrilled to be here tonight for Monday Night Football. Saints, Chiefs, y'all come on, hang out with us, watch the game. Our VIP winners will be here with their guests. They'll have the VIP seating, the free food, the Bud Light, but everybody, I'll come pack this place. Let's make it a huge, fun event tonight here. If you've never been to the ESPN Bet Sportsbook, it's just an awesome place. I mean, there's TVs everywhere. You can obviously sports bet here. It's honestly, as fun as it is to do on an app, it's just there's just something about like having cash, walking up to the window, getting your ticket, then going and get cash in hand as well. So y'all come hang out with us here at ESPN Bet, courtesy of Mockler Beverage and Bud Light. All right, two sort of newsy things here in the NFL that sort of pertain to the New Orleans Saints. One, this is just unfortunately, it's a world that we all know well and have experienced before. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are evacuating Tampa ahead of Hurricane Milton, which earlier today was upgraded to a Category 5 storm. And, of course, the Week 6 game for Tampa is in New Orleans against the Saints. So Tampa, instead of spending the week in Tampa, then coming later, they'll spend the whole week in New Orleans getting ready for the game against the Saints. Displacement due to storms is obviously nothing new to any of us. And, man, I feel terribly for the people there in Florida and along the East Coast. Helene was just such a monster of a storm. There's so many people still struggling from that. Now here, 2 weeks later, here comes Milton, a Cat 5 that looks like it's just barreling toward pummeling Florida again. But Tampa, the Bucs, will spend the week in New Orleans before their game Sunday against the Saints. And it's my goodness, y'all, it's just it's a critical game for the Saints, especially if they don't find a way to win this one tonight against the Chiefs. We could spell out the math, but I think you know it by now. I mean, the Saints, if the Saints win tonight, they pull even at 3-2 with the Bucs and the Falcons. If they lose, they fall to 2-3. A game in the loss column behind, but 2 behind Atlanta because Atlanta has the head-to-head, and then you play Tampa next week. And, boy, if you're the Saints and you lose tonight and you lose Sunday in the Dome against Tampa, you've really buried yourself in a pretty deep hole that's going to be tough to carve your way out of. So it's a massive one. But Tampa is going to have to go through this week being displaced from their home as the Hurricane Milton barrels toward them. So our prayers and certainly concerns are with everybody in Florida, but that's one story we'll keep an eye on as it pertains to this coming week with the Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So do you have the latest on Devontae Adams? I'll get to here in a second. As always, brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com, SouthPointVW.com. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or might be, make sure you put Volkswagen on your list. And South Point is Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealers because they sell more Volkswagens than anyone. They can give you the best deal. Also, because they sell more Volkswagens, they have more trade-ins. So their certified pre-owned inventory, all makes and models, is huge. So if you're looking for a used car, make sure you check out South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Hey, the other sort of developing news here, I was going to get to Devontae Adams, but this is breaking news. Everyone has this now on the Saints. Looking at Twitter, everybody's got it. But Shane Lemieux is headed to IR. So Shane Lemieux, the offensive lineman, the center, who started last week against the Atlanta Falcons in place of an injured Eric McCoy. Shane Lemieux now, with his own injury, is headed to IR, meaning he'll be out for a minimum of 4 weeks. That is certainly devastating now that you had Eric McCoy, your starting center, go down with a groin injury. He's out for 2 months. You signed Shane Lemieux off the practice squad. He started last week, and now he's injured, and he's gone to IR, so he'll be out for at least a month now. If you end up bringing him back, we'll see. But, man, the hits keep coming for the New Orleans Saints, a team that has really struggled to stay healthy. Was asked earlier about all these injuries, and do you look at the Saints medical staff, training staff, etc. Look, sometimes injuries are just part of playing a physical game, man. Like, you tear an ACL, you break a leg. Like, Willie Gay's hand injury is just part of playing football. Concussions are part of playing football. Taysom Hill having rib injuries, that's nothing your training staff did. That's just part of playing a physical game. The thing that's concerning are the soft tissue injuries. And Dennis Allen kind of alluded to this. The first practice of training camp, the first drill, the first day when Kendre Miller got hurt with the hamstring. And the reason he was so upset is because that is viewed as something preventable. That is viewed as something like you taking care of yourself and making sure that you are properly stretched and you are warm and you've gotten all the right treatment to make sure you prevent those soft tissue injuries. So when I look at, like, Shane Lemieux having an ankle injury, I don't look at the training staff as responsible for Shane Lemieux having an ankle injury. Like, that's just, you're playing in a mosh pit of large humanity falling on each other, and yeah, you're going to have knees and ankles and things go wrong. But, like, Lucas Patrick with the groin, Pete Werner with a hamstring, a week after DeMario Davis had a hamstring, Chris Olave's got a hamstring. Those are the types of things. Eric McCoy with the groin injury, Lucas Patrick with a groin injury. Last week, Derek Carr had a groin injury. Those are the things, the soft tissue, the quad, the hamstring, the calf, the groin. Like, those are the things where I wonder, what are your protocols, and are you actually preparing properly to make sure those don't become injury issues? That's one where I think there is a legitimate question to be asked, and I'm not the right one to answer it. But hopefully someone on the beat who's there, talking to Dennis Allen every day, will ask that question, because I think that is one that does need to be asked at this point. Needs a fair look and answer as well. All right, it's after further review. Peter Burns is coming up here in just a smidge. I do want to talk about the Davante Adams trade. I'm just going to have to bump this because we got that Shane Lemieux news that he's going to IR. But the word around Davante Adams and his camp is that they want a deal done. The Raiders want a deal done in 48 hours. They want to trade Davante Adams. They want this done in 48 hours. Adams did not play this last weekend. He was on the injury report. Let's be honest, he's not injured. They were holding him because they didn't want to risk injury and significantly affect his trade value. So they want to get a deal done within 48 hours. Jets, Saints, Ravens, who might be the teams involved, as we've talked about. The Vikings, the Jets struggled offensively in their loss to the Minnesota Vikings, but we'll keep an eye on where Davante Adams may land. But could it be the Jets with Aaron Rodgers? Could it be New Orleans? The Steelers, the Chiefs, the Bills are other teams that are reportedly interested in making a trade for Davante Adams, so we'll continue to follow that. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows, Windows, Door, Siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. Peter Burns of the SEC Network will be here. Stick around. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
AFR is brought to you by Duplessis Builders. Go to DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. Great place to start. Y'all, if you're thinking or have been thinking about a pool, an outdoor kitchen, building that backyard paradise, y'all, this is the time. I mean, I know it's October. Swimming season for now is done, even though it's still in the 80s or 90. It's 90 degrees right now. But this is the time to start for next spring. Here's why. There's permitting, there's plans, designs, all that could take 6 to 8 weeks from before you put a shovel in the ground. And Derek's been very transparent. I've told you. His build-out is a 2-month process just because they will not cut corners. They are going to build you a premium quality product that will last. So if you want to be swimming with your landscape done and everything by the spring, start that process today. DuplessisBuilders.net. Check them out again online at DuplessisBuilders.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters. This week in the SEC with Peter Burns.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Let's separate the contenders from the pretenders.
Number 11 of the defense, throwing the LSU player's shoe 20 yards down the field.
With Peter Burns of the SEC Network, presented by Blue Delta Jeans.
All right, we're back here from the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at L'Auberge, connecting with Peter Burns of the SEC Network. What an eventful weekend it was. If you're just joining us, welcome. We did open the show today with, as you might imagine, Bama is Burning. It was, well, I loved it. It was theatrical, and you can go check it out on the AFR LSU YouTube channel if you want to check it out there. We'll make sure we have it everywhere. But, man, Vandy beating Bama was obviously a massive part of this weekend. It was the part of the weekend. But it was a weekend that just saw such a bevy of massive upsets and turnover in college football and in the SEC. Peter Burns of the SEC Network joins us now, as he does every Monday. PB, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, all things considered. I'm trying to get over the start of the show, and it was as epic, as great, and as corny, and as beautiful, and as everything that I wanted it to be. Like, this was a wild – I mean, like, there's wild-ass weekends in college football, and then there's Vanderbilt beating Alabama. And it's not Vanderbilt beating Alabama. It's Vanderbilt doing to Alabama what Alabama has done to other people. That's wild. Crazy.
Was there a point at what point in the game did you think, oh my God, like this is actually gonna happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, I think all of us, looked at it is like whenever they went up, what was it, 10 up late, and you're like, is this for real? But even after, I mean, honestly, after Bama Bama had to resort to the reverse to score the touchdown against Vanderbilt, which is just crazy. Once they did that, you're like, all right, here's what happened. They get turtle in the shell. Bama's defense comes up, and Ryan Williams is going to do something like a unicorn of God, and then they're just going to win, and it'll be a cute story. But to see Diego Pavia be like, blank this, I'm Johnny Manziel reincarnate. We're going to turn up, and it was. I mean, you had to do it. You had to make plays, and they did it. I mean, 12 of 18 on third down, less penalized, no sacks, no turnover. I mean, this was a absolute chef's kiss, and this wasn't Bama losing the game. This was Vanderbilt whooping their. You know what?
It was unbelievable how Vanderbilt controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Vanderbilt possessed the ball for 42 minutes and 8 seconds, which is amazing to see. But Pete, that is the punchline, right? The thing that made Alabama so dominant for so long, their giant differentiator, was how they just absurdly suffocated people on both lines of scrimmage, and they're just not that anymore. So what does this mean for Alabama for the remainder of the season?
It means that they struggle in that locker room because, I talk to some people and I go, what in the world happened? And they say, you got to realize a lot of these kids were under the Saban regime. And I'll put it regime. I mean, nobody ran probably a tighter ship. And we're seeing that like in Athens because Kirby built it the same way that Nick built it. And then what Saban did. And now you have coaches that have been there that don't know these kids really well, that live in this transfer portal world and just, it's different directions and different voices right now. I mean, the deal, and I told you this, how many times did LSU and Alabama play? And as much as we cared about Alabama, and I say we as an LSU fan, when you got to the field and you looked across the room, no matter how good you felt, they're like, they don't give a damn about us and it's over. Like before the week was even built up. And 2019 flipped that. But now this is a game in which now there's blood in the water. People look at Alabama and go, bro, if Vanderbilt can do it, now mind you, this is a good Vanderbilt team, but if Vanderbilt can do it, why can't we do it? I mean, it's Saban doesn't lose that game. We agree with that,
right? Peter, I can't even believe you have to ask me that question with a straight face.
I mean, it's shocking to me of just I don't think it's cockiness because they're not. I don't think they're cocky. I think it's just more a matter of the fact that I've seen so many games, and especially let's go to SEC championships where Georgia is outplaying them. They probably have a better team than Alabama. But Saban at some point, either in the first quarter or second quarter or at halftime, comes up and he goes, guys, we need to do this, and this. Change it, get it figured out, and let's win the game. And they do. And they don't have that guy there that made it. I was shocked about the lack of adjustments in the middle of the third quarter, fourth quarter against that Georgia game, and it carried over against Vanderbilt.
Yep. I mean, PB, nobody wanted to hear this last week because Bama won the game. But they needed 3 atrocious interceptions, a fumble, a safety, and a miracle play by an otherworldly freshman to eke past Georgia. I mean,
listen, I did the butterfly effect. On that Monday, I did the entire show last week of what happens if Ryan Williams isn't an alien and he doesn't make that play, and they'll blow. What's the narrative? The narrative is that Jalen DeBoer just blew the biggest lead in SEC history in front of everybody. It's the largest comeback. It was a choke job. And the narrative is different if one play changes, or even if they score late into that game and go on to win it. So, again, the one thing that we always knew about Saban, and it happened one time against a good A&M squad, I think, back in 2021. But other than that, when they played somebody below their weight class, there was no Buster Douglas. Never. It just wasn't an option. Yeah. And, I mean, that wasn't just a fluky, hungover Mike Tyson. That was just absolutely a crush job by Vandy. And Diego Pavia is the freaking man. Dude, like, you can't pull for him, man. it's tough. He's fun as hell to watch.
Look, man, I know there's a lot of LSU fans here, Pete, who've asked, like, hey, should LSU be worried about Vanderbilt coming to Baton Rouge? Like, if nothing else, Vanderbilt got everybody's attention. But really, Pete, I mean, they blew a double-digit fourth-quarter lead against Georgia State, should have won that game. And their kicker snap-hooked one against Missouri at the gun. Otherwise, they win that game. It could be 5-0 right now.
They would be, top 20 team. And that's the whole deal. Remember Barton Simmons, the kid, the recruiting guy?
Yes,
they hired him about 2 years ago to kind of be a GM back when name, image, likeness was a deal. And I think what I said on the show this morning is that we're used to this parity and chaos in the NFL, right? The Saints can look unbelievable for the first 2 weeks of the season. We're like, oh my God. This is the Dolphins, 72 Dolphins type thing. And then the next week they look like crap because there's so much parity in the NFL, and that's what's happening. The unbelievable uber elite teams, they no longer can stack 5-star after 5-star after 5-star. And so that kind of waters it down. And then the guys like Vanderbilt can say, you know what? We need a Diego Pavia. We need even coaching staff. They can go get Jerry Kill and Tim Hunt and all these guys, and they can create a game plan. So it's just the band of parity has created what we're going to see a lot more of this going forward.
I think it's a great thing for college football, and the expanded playoff is exactly at the right time as well. Okay, Peter Burns with us, SEC Network, on Twitter at Peter Burns, ESPN. Of course, you know that. Give him a follow. What happened at Tennessee?
Arkansas, to their credit, Travis Williams, the defensive coordinator, we found out this story was amazing. He went to Sam Pittman after watching some film against Oklahoma and said, Coach, I know we haven't practiced this defense all in the fall, in the spring, but I want to install a brand new look, a 3-2-6 look with defensive backs. And Sam Pittman's like, okay. Right. I hired Bobby Petrino back to Fayetteville. There's nothing that's off limits at this point. Yeah. And they basically installed 4 defensive plays, and Nico wasn't developed enough to make those runs and make those adjustments. And that's what they banked on. And, the place was rocking, and it's just it's a hard place to play. And, it's just like Kirby. Kirby talked about when they barely beat Kentucky. It's like, listen, winning on the road is tough in the SEC. It's only tougher now that this is more of an NFL-type version of college football.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not surprised that A&M beat Missouri. A little surprised it went 41-10. Missouri was a fraud. And they got exposed. I'm not surprised. My question for you is, and the easy way to answer or ask you, Pete, is how good's A&M? But let me do you think when you look at A&M and their schedule, is this a team that could be a college football playoff team?
They have playmakers. That's one of it. They found 10 different wide receivers right from the jump. It was built on the Connor Wigman is actually any good. And guess what? They went all in. They didn't even say, hey, we might play Marcel Reed. They're like, this is our dude. And they let him throw the ball. And I thought that was great confidence building. Now, here's the deal. If you watch that game, Missouri got absolutely hosed right from the jump. They're going forward, 4th down and 2. They're driving all on plus side of the field. They get a bad pass interference call overturned. It should have been a pass interference. There's zero doubt about it. And the wheels started coming off. I'm going to play Baton Rouge Country Club on Friday, and it's basically like if you shank the first shot off the tee in front of everybody, and you're just like, all right, it just sets the tone for the day. I just made a quad right off the bat, and I'm fine. And then today's just not going to be my day. We'll chalk it up. That's what happened. And what happened, though, is you had 100,000 people going crazy. The playmakers are going. Every time Missouri had something going, A&M they had bad luck, and A&M just ended up taking advantage of it. Also, I think there's a little bit of an attitude adjustment issue that's happening with Luther Bird and some of these guys. They're not all on the same page. I think they're frustrated, and I think that's starting to turn its head out there.
Pete, look, they got 2 ranked opponents left. They got LSU at home and Texas at home. Their road games remaining are Mississippi State, South Carolina, and Auburn. I'm not saying that's easy by any stretch. It's still the SEC, but it's not like there's the 10,000-pound gorilla. Pete, even if they get to Texas at 10-1 and lose and go 10-2, and your losses are to Notre Dame and Texas,
that ain't bad.
There's a path for you into the playoff at 10-2.
they're not. They don't just do one thing well. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, if you go back and look at what they have right now, they can stop the run. Defensively, they're pretty good against the pass. Now, I mean, I think they can run the ball really well with Le'Veon Moss. But then now that Connor's 100% healthy, they've got wide receivers, and they've got, like I said, can you imagine Kyle Fields that hasn't had any kind of semblance of success in so long hosting a college football playoff game?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
tear the roof.
I can't imagine that, because if they do get in, Pete, I think they would be somewhere in that 10-11 range, and they wouldn't be hosting there. But, boy, that would be interesting to see if they do get in, man. Pete, it's one of the things I hate. I hate LSU in that spot, man. That'd be 3 consecutive conference games, back-to-back road conference games for LSU, and that place is LSU hadn't won there since 2016. So
it's a weird matchup, and frankly, I still don't know what LSU is.
Yeah,
I have no and that's why somebody asked me. They're like, because I'm coming in town for the Ole Miss game, and they're like, well, what do you think? Gut feeling, man. You're feeling it? And I'm like, I have no idea. I really, legitimately, there's years I've come in, I'm like, I feel this way, and I'm like, this is going to be just like, you show up, you're like, I know I'm going to have a bunch of alcohol. I know I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not working for the weekend. And, buddy, I'm just here along for the ride. Like, strap it in, like, just go, pump it into my veins. I'm ready. I'm here for the entire Ole Miss LSU experience.
That's why we love you. Hey, so wait, real quick before you go, 1 minute, LSU Ole Miss, I know you said you're not sure, but at least give me a thought here, a matchup to watch, something you think about the game.
No. I mean, it literally is 80. I mean, what's the over and under? 80 points?
No, it's like,
I mean, I would be
64, 62.
Oh my God, come on. I mean, that sounds. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. That just sounds unbelievable. That sounds like 20 points too low. That sounds like a rounding error.
I don't know. 64.5. Pete, I think we're going to see a game like LSU-USC. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game.
I'll tell you what. I said it real quick. I know we got to go, but yeah. I think Ole Miss should be known this year as a defensive team that has a good offense, not an offensive team that founds in defense. They're much better. I think they're better on defense than they are on offense.
It's looking more like that when they're playing more legitimate teams. Peter Burns, courtesy of Blue Delta Jeans, BlueDeltaJeans.com. You'll get him on Twitter, X at Peter Burns ESPN. Hey, man, hope to see you this weekend, man. Be well. Okay, he hung up. All right, we'll go to break. Muse will have Tigers and the Pros next. AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. By the way, it is Monday Night Football. It's Saints game day, y'all. So make sure you get by Rouse's. If you're heading home and you're not coming here to the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at LeBears to watch the game with us, you're going to watch it at your home. Make sure you get the Saints Bud Light cans. I got them at Rouse's. Or grab any of the things that you want for your home watch party tonight. Or maybe you just, like, it's just going to be you and the fam pulling into Rouse's. Maybe grab some of their dry-aged steaks that you can get. You want a beautiful piece of fish to throw on the grill, all the sides. You can cook it yourself, or they can cook it for you however you want. Prepared options or options for you to go ahead and throw on the grill if you're going to have a great game watch there tonight. Watch the Saints hopefully pull off a big upset on Monday Night Football. Rouse's got everything. Whether you're making groceries, you need dinner for yourself, the fam, they got you covered there at Rouse's with more than 70 locations. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a
Further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Wrapping up hour number 2 from the ESPN Bet Sportsbook here at LeBear's. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Right now, Muso Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, let's start with the NFL Sunday, shall we? And we'll start with Jaden Daniels. This is where a lot of these conversations have been starting. Daniels was flawless once again. 238 yards through the air with a touchdown, would add 82 yards on the ground. The leading rusher for the Washington Commanders. They would improve to 4-1 after just completely shellacking the Cleveland Browns as well. Jaden Daniels continues to roll, and the Rookie of the Year conversation for offense, kind of in the rearview mirror. People are shifting that now towards, could he be the first MVP as a rookie since Jim Brown? A lot of game left, but we will remain to see. Jaden Daniels, he's awesome, folks. A guy he was throwing the football to last season, also pretty awesome. That's Brian Thomas. 5 receptions, 122 yards, and a touchdown in the Jaguars' first win of the season. Also had a tackle because Trevor Lawrence threw another interception. But the 122 yards, the long of 85. Dusted a guy on a go route, was never touched on his way into the end zone. Brian Thomas, he's pretty good at football as well, folks. Derek Stingley Jr., 7 tackles, second leading tackler for the Houston Texans, and had a pass defense in their victory over the Buffalo Bills. Joe Burrow. Cincinnati's got a lot of problems. He is not one of them. 30 of 39 for 392 with 5 touchdowns for Burrow. Also at a run for 1 yard. Jamar Chase on the receiving end of a third of those passes. Or actually a third of those completions. 10 receptions, 193, 2 scores, and a long of 70. They continue to be unstoppable as a duo. And then Justin Jefferson, 6 receptions for 92 yards in his effort as well. One more note to get to for the NFL, and then we'll quick note for the NBA. Patrick Queen, 9 tackles last night on Sunday Night Football, which quickly turned into Monday Morning Football. And Dante Jackson, 4 total stops, an interception, and a pass defense in the loss for the Steelers. NBA preseason basketball is back. Got started over the weekend. Naz Reid for the Minnesota Timberwolves, 10 minutes in his preseason debut, 5 points, 2 rebounds. Remember, Naz, your 6th man of the year last year, looking to follow up that with another great campaign. That is Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. For Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, gents, if you're thinking of popping the question, you know what to do. Go where Louisianians have gone for 40 years to get engaged. That's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, Corbett Boulevard and Bocage, Mall of Louisiana. Lafayette, New Orleans, Shreveport. 9 locations in all, and because they buy in bulk, they can give you the best deal, and you will always get the Lee Michaels experience. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, or just walk into any of their great locations. If they don't have what you want, they'll find it or they can make it. Understand what it means to get the Lee Michaels experience at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, y'all, we're here at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook inside of LeBerge. It is a great day here in the capital city. Saints on the road, Monday Night Football against Kansas City Chiefs, 7:15 Central Time kick. You can hear the game if you're in Baton Rouge on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. If you're looking for a place to watch the game, come hang out with us here. We're pretty excited, man. We had our contest. Our VIP winners are all confirmed. Our VIP winners will have Bud Light, courtesy of our friends at Mockler, free food, courtesy of the people here at L'Auberge. They'll have VIP seating in the sports book as well, but everybody's invited to come out. There's not a bad seat in the house. There's tons of tables, TVs everywhere, tons of beer on tap, all your liquor options as well, great food, and you'll be able to see the game. Come bet on the game on Monday Night Football here with us. We were here for the Dustin Poirier fight back in June, I believe, and, man, this place was packed. Now, granted, that was a Saturday night, and this is a Monday, and it's a work week. I get it, school night for a lot of people. But if you're looking for a place to come watch the Saints tonight, and nowhere better to be than here, we will have prizes throughout the day, throughout the game. No, you don't have to be a VIP, no purchase necessary or anything like that. Just come drop your name in the bucket, and we'll pull. Somebody's going to win Bud Light Lounge tickets for Saints Rams at the Dome. Someone's winning LSU-Ole Miss tickets for this weekend, and someone is going to win a commemorative Jaden Daniels Heisman football from our friends at Nyco Sports. So we had a ton of stuff to give away tonight as well. So make sure you come here and join us at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook here at LeBerge to watch Monday Night Football. All right, let me knock out our final break, y'all. Sports Center's coming up. We'll get you caught up on national headlines. Ross Jackson is in Kansas City. He'll be here in 20 minutes. We'll get to our college football takeaways. We'll get to Otter Locks as well, which will soon be posted at LouisianaSports.net. Also, when we come back, Brian Kelly met with reporters. We talked about it a bit ago. We'll let you catch up on some more of what Brian Kelly said, the work they did during the open date. That's after Sports Center on AFR.
AFR.
As we put a button here on hour number 2, I want to remind you about our friends at First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. Had a great lunch last week with my buddies Ben and Tim from First South Farm Credit, and it's remarkable the work that they do and what First South Farm Credit has done for more than 100 years. I mean, since 1916, they've done one thing: help Louisianians buy land. And this is what we're starting to see a ton of as rates have come down. They will actually do loan modification. So with these interest rate reductions, they will call you and let you know if they can get you a better rate. They've done $200 million in loan volume that they've repriced just in the last 2 weeks. It's First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Game 2 of the American League Division Series between the Tigers and Guardians. Still scoreless, bottom 7. Detroit's Tarek Skubal, 3 hits, 8 strikeouts so far. A trio of Cleveland pitchers, Matthew Boyd, Cade Smith, Tim Herron, have given up a combined 4 hits, and they've struck out 7. The Yankees' John Birdie will make his first Major League start at first base in Game 2 of the ALDS versus the Royals tonight. Coverage in an hour on ESPN Radio. Birdie's played second, third, and left for New York this season. Quarterback Deshaun Watson's struggles continue. The Browns are 1-4, but coach Kevin Stefanski said they're not switching quarterbacks. ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky.
No way that anyone can tell me that Kevin Stefanski is trotting out Deshaun Watson on a consistent basis and in his heart believes that's what's best for the football team. That is 100% either an ownership or a front office decision.
Dan Orlovsky on Unsportsmanlike. Watson's in the midst of a fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract with Cleveland. Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers expected to return from an oblique injury and start against Oklahoma on Saturday.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, Brock Purdy hasn't looked super without his friends. I'll tell you what he needs to do to silence the critics if he wants to get paid this offseason. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We're here from the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at L'Auberge. It's Monday Night Football, Saints and Chiefs. 15 minutes from right now, we're headed to Kansas City. Our guy Ross Jackson from LouisianaSports.net is there in KC covering the game, so we'll get a scene setter, boots on the ground. What's it like there for Monday Night Football? I did talk to Ross yesterday, and this was yesterday afternoon. And I guess it stands to reason, the day before a game, a Sunday afternoon, evening in Kansas City, you wouldn't really see the ramp up for the game yet. But I'm curious how it's been today. Sort of like whenever there is a primetime game in New Orleans, the CBD, really everybody takes a half day, and then it's just all the whole CBD, the area around the Dome, just becomes a giant expanded Saints block party for the game. I'm curious what it's going to be like tonight for the Chiefs and the Saints. What's interesting is, I'll remind you, maybe you can pull this up for me. Lee Sterling was with us last week and on Thursday, and he gave us his best bets. Not only did he pick the Saints to cover, he picked the Saints to win this game tonight. And I just got an email from the Action Network. Their sharp play tonight is the Saints. Jimmy will be here for Otterlocks in just a bit, about 40 minutes from right now. By the way, if you want Jimmy's picks, he has the pick on Monday Night Football tonight and a baseball game tonight as well. If you want to go, it's up right now at LouisianaSports.net. I saw it's just posted. So Otterlocks are live at LouisianaSports.net. I tell you, I mean, there's a lean toward the Saints. The thing about this game, though, that really spooks me is I understand Kansas City has struggled offensively. They have. That is objectively true. They are middle of the pack in the NFL in yards and points. The most they've scored is 27 in that NFL opening night of the NFL season against the Ravens. They're 4-0, but it's been on the backs of their defense and Patrick Mahomes doing amazing things late in games. I think the Saints defense matches up just fine in this game. I'm not worried about the Saints defense keeping this game in reach. What I'm worried about is a makeshift offensive line. If you missed the news last hour, Shane Lemieux went to IR.
I have the lead pick.
So Shane Lemieux going to IR. You've already got Eric McCoy, is going to be out for 2 months. Lucas Patrick. We're waiting on actives for tonight. Actually, elevations and actives. So I don't know if that's out yet. Maybe you can check for me. We'll ask Ross here in about 10 minutes. You're without Cesar Ruiz again. I mean, God, the interior of that Saints offensive line, asking them to try to make hay against this Chiefs defense, which has been better than the offense so far through the first month. That just feels like a massive ask. But we'll get Ross's take here in a bit. We'll get Otterlocks here in a bit as well in this hour number 3. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Of course, we'd love telling you about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Brian Kelly met with reporters earlier today. We'll delve into a little more what BK had to say. But I got to remind you, of course, if you're looking for tires, Shawbills, they're the best. With locations all over South Louisiana, they guarantee you the lowest price. It's part of the Charlie's Dozen. They guarantee that you will get the lowest price on tires. Buy tires at Shawbills. Find them advertised somewhere cheaper. They'll refund you 125% of the difference. That's at Shawbills. Voted by Modern Tire the Dealer of the Year. That's Miss Beth Barron over at Shawbills. A national recognition of all the tire dealers in the country. Modern Tire's Dealer of the Year, Miss Beth Barron over at Shawbills, because she's continued to institute the principles that her dad, Mr. Charlie, made foundational with Shawbills. They're going to sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. They're going to treat you like family because they're family owned and operated. It's Shawbills. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, we keep you rolling. Brian Kelly met with reporters Monday here in advance of the open date. He started off kind of talking about how the open date, that bye week, went for the Tigers.
Last week, obviously, an off week for us. I got a chance to really work on a number of things that needed improvement within our team. As earlier in the season, it wasn't really a recovery week for us as much as it was, shore up some things offensively, defensively, and special teams. I thought we had a great week. Gave the guys the opportunity on Friday and Saturday to recovery, and then we were back at it with meetings and weight training yesterday.
One of the other things that Brian Kelly said on Monday that caught my attention, it's sort of validating and contrary to what Peter Burns just said a bit ago, where we looked at the total in this game, and the total is 64.5, and Peter said he said it feels like it's 20 points too low. And we all watched the 55-49 debacle of a season ago where LSU led by 9 in the fourth quarter and blew that late lead and, of course, lost that game. And, that effectively cost LSU any hope of making it to the college football playoff at that point. It was your second loss in September. We under a 4-team format, we never saw a 2-loss team make the college football playoff. So I think a lot of people are looking at that and are assuming we're going to see the same thing again with an LSU defense that has struggled and an Ole Miss offense that's still very good and very high-powered and an LSU offense that's gotten going a little bit here. Can you play number 5, Muse? Brian Kelly was asked sort of the difference in the defense from last year against Ole Miss, which was, that was the low point, right? You gave up 55. You gave up 700 yards. The week later is when you brought Pete Jenkins in to try to salvage something of that team. Here's Brian Kelly walking through story. This was a hard – you could tell, like, he was very – it took him a minute to gather his thoughts to answer this question. But here was his answer about how they've changed from last year.
You know, from a coaching standpoint and a playing standpoint, we're much further along. That's not the same defense. So, look, the game comes down to when you're playing an up-tempo team like Ole Miss, you've got to get lined up. You got to get your cleats in the ground. You got to tackle. And I think we probably talked about this last year after the game. It didn't tackle very well, didn't get lined up, and it didn't play fundamentally sound football. And so, you know, it starts with that premise, and then you move from there, right? Different looks, try to get the quarterback off schedule, and at the end of the day, you know, try to make any offense, regardless of what they do, one-dimensional.
Whether it's throwing, and by the way, I made this comparison. If you look at the 5 games LSU's played to this point, which offense most closely resembles Ole Miss? And it's Southern Cal. It's Lincoln Riley. It was Miller Moss. It's those receivers. You even had a former SEC running back in Woody Marks. And you heard what he said. Whatever they do, you try to make them one-dimensional. Well, think about that Ole Miss game. Ole Miss put up the Southern Cal game. Southern Cal put up 447 yards of offense. But they ran it 23 times for 69 yards. They threw it for 378. You just didn't allow them to line up, run the ball, and salt it away. Miller Moss was good through the air, but he attempted 36 passes, and they hit some big plays against you in the passing game, but some of that was, you know, your inability to get guys on the ground, you know, the catch and run. But the long run of the game was 17 yards for Southern Cal. Like, you didn't allow the big bust play in the run. You made them beat you in a one-dimensional way. It's the same thing Brian Kelly's saying there. And then, Muse, this is 14. You know, he kind of said what my thought is. Like, this is a game where you as good as your offense is and theirs is, you don't want to be in a game like a year ago where it ended up 55-49.
We were tilted one side, and we had to play, unfortunately, the game that way. I didn't like it, you know, but that's what we had. And so we were in a situation last year where we were trying to outscore, and it's not the right way to play. It was the only way to play. I think there's much more balance in our football team, and we don't want to play that way. You know, we want to play good defense. We want to keep the points down, and we want to score appropriately. So if you're asking the question relative to how it fits, each and every week, we don't want it to be a shootout. We want to play the appropriate level of defense that allows us to run our offense, that protects and plays complementary football.
You're not going to be a dominant defense this year. You don't have the personnel to be it. Can you be a complementary defense, I think, is the question. You did that against USC. You held them to 20 sets. That was that game was tied at 20 until 8 seconds remaining. You know, you played a higher scoring game against South Carolina because you allowed 2 long runs, and you kind of got out of sorts early in that ball game. But aside from that, you have played better defensively. Can you play complementary football again this weekend against Ole Miss? Like, you're not going to be dominant. You're not going to choke out Ole Miss the way Kentucky did defensively. But a big part of that game was Kentucky offensively limiting opportunities. Kentucky held Ole Miss to 17 points, and it was very similar actually to what Vanderbilt did against South Carolina. I mean, Kentucky held the ball for 39 minutes and 43 seconds. I mean, sometimes the best defense is a good offense that's playing keep away. So can LSU establish the run? Can they convert third downs? Can they keep Ole Miss offense on ice? It's a bigger part of this weekend as anything. Plenty of time to talk about the Tigers and the Rebels. It's Monday Night Football. It is Saints and Chiefs. We're headed to Kansas City. Visit with our buddy Ross Jackson of LouisianaSports.net when we return here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Action Industries. Still recruiting for those 2 turnarounds that are coming up. It's turnaround season. You know that. They have 2 4 to 5 week, 2-month-long turnarounds coming up. And they need between 100, 120 people, and they are in full-on recruitment mode. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty if that's you. Welders, pipe fitters, crane operators, boiler makers. They want to talk to you. If you're looking for work, working 7/12s. You can apply online or in person. Online at actionindinc.com, Action Industries Incorporated, actionindinc.com, or in person at their Highway 30 office in Geismar. Just walk into the office, ask for Zach. He'll get you squared away. It's over at Action Industries. Again, all the work's local to Greater Baton Rouge as well. Check them out. Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
I've always said, it's one of my favorite environments. The crowd is unbelievable. It feels like that college atmosphere. Just die-hard fans, super loud. One of, if not the loudest stadium I've ever played in. And and they have a really good football team. So it's a fun environment to play in. Very tough to execute and win in. But again, one of my favorite places to play. But for sure, one of the toughest places to play.
Derek Carr has played 9 games at Arrowhead in his career. He's 1-8. The lone win came in October of the COVID season. See if he can get a win at Kansas City here in his first try with the New Orleans Saints. Let's go to Kansas City. Ross Jackson, the host of the Locked On Saints podcast. Of course, LouisianaSports.net, where you can read all about Saints and Chiefs. Ross, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Hey, buddy. Doing great. Glad to be here.
Thanks for the time. Set the scene for us. What's it like there in KC?
Yeah, this is the highest up I've ever been in the press box, so I'm a little nervous. But outside of my personal fears, things are kind of shaping up the way that you expected in this game. There seems to be a couple of roster moves to kind of go into this one. No Kendra Miller in this game, but that's not particularly a surprise. And then typically, or pretty much, the guys that are ruled out will likely be the inactives today, with a couple of extra names that might get shuffled in. But this one is kind of shaping up as expected thus far, and I will say that the city of Kansas City is going to show up pretty big for this one. Lots going on here at the stadium.
So you mentioned the inactives. I know we're not expecting inactives here maybe for another half hour or so, but any of the players that we know are out, which or who is or are the most significant for this game tonight in your mind?
Yeah, I think Taysom Hill is a big one to mention. Obviously, he's going to be out this week after leaving the game last week in Atlanta with an abdomen injury. For whatever reason, it just seems the Saints' offense doesn't churn the way that it does without Taysom when he is in the game. And so him being out is going to be a big one to watch, especially for the run game. Kansas City is very good against the run. They're particularly strong against the zone run, which has been the Saints' bread and butter so far this season. Kansas City's used to allowing just 3.55 yards per carry against the zone. That makes them the seventh best team against zone run. So that's going to be a big one because Taysom gives you a little bit of that man gap scheme versatility, guy that can run between the tackles, all that. So where the Saints maybe find some of that production is going to be big. And so I think that's a big one that's going to have an impact. And then, of course, there's the late adds, the out list that happened yesterday with linebacker Pete Werner being out. So you get DeMario Davis back, but you don't have Pete Werner, nor do you have Willie Gay Jr. So that's going to kind of upset the middle of this New Orleans Saints defense a bit, which is going to be very important with Travis Kelce on the other side of the football.
We know that offensive line is going to be shorthanded. Saints, and we learned today Shane Lemieux's going to IR. They were already going to be without Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, Lucas Patrick's questionable for this game, so we'll see if he's good to go. Russ, how in the world – let me ask you a very specific question about Connor McGovern, because I know you wrote about this at LouisianaSports.net. If he is, in fact, the starting center tonight, which I'm assuming he will be, unless if you know something, you tell me. But if he is, what's a realistic expectation for how seamlessly he might be able to integrate in, 4 days?
Yeah. This is a little bit like when the Rams signed Baker Mayfield years ago, except instead of it being at quarterback, it's at that other really important position at center. And so I think the other thing, so I'm expecting Connor McGovern to be the starting center in this game as well.
Okay.
Lucas Patrick is questionable for this one. We still don't know his game status just yet, but I think that the fact that the Saints elevated or brought up Kyle Hergel from their practice squad kind of gave you a little bit of an indication in terms of where that might be going pregame. So we'll see exactly where that goes, but my expectation is Connor McGovern. If he does end up being the starting center, I think that the realistic expectation here is that he should be able to fold into the run game well. It's going to be the communication with Derek Carr, the passing game, making the calls and cues and adjustments at the line. That's going to be the place where you might see him struggle a little bit. So he's going to be really important to watch in the passing game in terms of identifying blitzes and things like that. But he's got a lot of experience in the same type of zone run system that the Saints use. And, of course, he's got a lot of experience with multiple coaches on New Orleans Saints coaching staff, including offensive line coach John Benton. So I think he'll fit in comfortably in the run, but the passing game is where you're going to want to watch him closely.
If I asked you best guess what the Saints starting five on the offensive line looks like tonight here, less than 2 hours from kickoff, what's your best guess?
Yeah, my best guess without Lucas Patrick would be Taliesin Fuanga at left tackle, Nick Saldiveri potentially getting his start at left guard, and then you've got Connor McGovern at center. Landon Young would go back to being at right guard, just like he was last week. And then, of course, Trevor Penning at right tackle. So that's my expectation for the starting five there.
Unenviable task looking at Chris Jones across the middle of that. Ross Jackson's with us on Twitter at RossJacksonNola. Make sure you listen to him, of course, on Locked on Saints, and read his stuff with us over at LouisianaSports.net. The Kansas City offense, Ross, has not been awesome this year. The Saints defense has. When you look at some of the missing pieces, in particular at linebacker, how much does that limit New Orleans today against Kansas City?
Yeah, it's going to be a challenging task. That's going to be the big place. Where New Orleans matches up well is their secondary up against the Kansas City wideouts or pass catchers, if you will. But the big thing is going to be, can the New Orleans Saints second level make tackles at the catch point? 64.8% of Patrick Mahomes' passing yards this season have come after the catch. He's mostly been throwing within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. It's a very dink and dunk offense. for Kansas City, a little bit uncharacteristic for them. So you can't give them life. You know what I mean? You can't give them the thing that they've lacked all season. So you're looking to mitigate some of those explosive plays before the catch, but also after the catch. And I think that's where the middle of the defense becomes really important. So that's where the losses of guys like Willie Gay as well as Pete Werner could potentially shine through. Now, getting Demario Davis back is helpful. I don't want to ignore that. But I think that's the thing that you're looking for is that middle of the defense. Are they going to be able to make stops at the catch point and limit the yardage that Kansas City gets through the air?
Ross, give me a key for New Orleans to go and get this win.
Yeah, I think it's going to be turnovers, extra possessions. I think that's going to be the big thing. Obviously, the New Orleans offense has got to be able to score points through the air if they're not able to get the run game going. But all of that is going to come down to how many times they get those opportunities. Kansas City has turned the ball over quite a bit. They've got a -4 turnover differential so far this season, so that works in New Orleans' favor. New Orleans is sitting at a +3 turnover differential, so on third best in the NFL versus third worst in the NFL before these Sunday's games were all played. So I think creating those turnovers and getting extra possession for Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints offense gives them a better chance to be able to find ways to attack the Kansas City defense.
Last thing, what would be the significance of the result of this game? It's just week 5, but a win or a loss, where would the significance of this one factor in?
I think you're looking at narrative changing in this game. The fact of the matter is that with Atlanta beating Tampa last week on Thursday Night Football, if the Saints lose, they're still only a game back in the situation with Tampa coming to town and what might be a little bit of a discombobulated week for them considering their situation coming to New Orleans or going to New Orleans on Tuesday as opposed to their typical Saturday game travel with Hurricane Milton on its way to Florida. So that gives them a little bit of an advantage that they have lost or that Tampa lost that Thursday Night Football game. But I think that the narrative-changing aspect of winning this game could be massive for New Orleans. The 2-game win streak, the 2-game loss streak, we saw this kind of roller coaster last year. The Saints need to get off that roller coaster. And so if they're able to start stringing some wins together, starting with a big confidence-building win here on the road in prime time against the back-to-back Super Bowl champions, I think that's where the real impact happens.
Make sure you read about it over at LouisianaSports.net. You can listen to Ross, of course, on the Locked On Saints podcast as well. Make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube. Okay, man, we appreciate it. Thanks. Enjoy the game.
Absolutely, bud. Thank you. Take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
That is Ross Jackson. This is After Further Review. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration. Tell you every day, kill mold, remove odor. That's Parish Restoration, the patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. If you have mold, think you might. Maybe you have odor from pets or from sweat or from smoke, either cigarette smoke or a fire. You want to get that knocked out, do it in a residential home in half a day. They'll come in, they'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog, they'll shut all the doors and windows, they'll let it dwell. As soon as the fog dissipates, boom, you're back in. And remember, it's non-toxic, so it's safe for your family, for plants, pets, all that stuff. And they can fog enormous commercial buildings as well. As a matter of fact, one of their clients that they have fogged is the largest or second largest commercial building in the state of Louisiana. So, literally, no job too big or too small. It's Parish Restoration. ParishBuilt.com, ParishBuilt.com. Hit the restoration tab, get all the info. Go to ParishBuilt.com. We appreciate Ross Jackson for being there with us. We're counting down less than 2 hours away to kickoff. We're here at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at LeBears. We'll have our game watch party tonight with our friends at Mockler Beverage and Bud Light. We certainly invite you to come on out tonight. It's starting to pick up, so if you want to get a table here in the sportsbook, good opportunity maybe not to dawdle, not to wait, because it's starting to fill up a little bit. Our VIPs will be here, our friends from Mockler Beverage as well. So we'll have for our VIPs free Bud Light, free food, VIP seating, but we're inviting everybody to come out again. Reminder, someone tonight is going to win tickets in the Bud Light Lounge for Saints Rams in the Dome. Someone is going to win a pair of LSU-Ole Miss tickets tonight. Someone is going to win a custom Jaden Daniels commemorative Heisman football from our friends at Nyko Sports. That's not for our VIPs only. It's for anybody that comes. You drop your name in the bucket. We'll draw throughout the game. We got ESPN hats and shirts and swag. So come on out and join. It's going to be a great time as we watch, hopefully, the Saints pull off a big upset. As we mentioned, a lot of sharps are leaning toward New Orleans. Lee Sterling was with us here on AFR last Thursday, as he is every week, to preview the biggest games. And this was Lee's take here last Thursday on Saints and Chiefs.
I like the Saints here. I think the Chiefs are going to lose a game. It's a non-division game. I think Kansas City's going to lose 3 or 4 games. I mean, you just can't go the whole season without your best 2 receivers and Pacheco for probably another 6-7 weeks. I just think it's too much. Their defense is great. They've been doing it with defense, special teams, and Mahomes making those big plays. But they're going to lose focus. And New Orleans, they should be undefeated right now. I think they pull the upset, 20-17.
20-17. That would be a play toward the under as well, which if I was going to side somewhere in this game, I would side with the under, especially with the Saints' issues on the offensive line. It's hard to imagine the Saints' offense looking like it did the first couple of weeks, but the Saints' defense, I think, is very capable of controlling Kansas City and making this a very competitive, low-scoring 4-quarter game. So we'll continue to keep an eye and see as we get closer. Auto locks here, again, coming up in about 15 minutes from right now. Let me knock out a quick break. Every single week, Muse, Paulie, and I tell you what our 3 takeaways from the college football weekend. Boy, were there a lot. We'll get to that as we continue. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, do what injured people in our state have done for more than 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. You can start by going to getgordon.com. There's a button right there on the homepage of the website that says Get Gordon. Just tap that button. You can start that process online. Or you can always call them, 888-8888, 888-8888, or go to getgordon.com. Remember, Gordon and his team, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault, you need representation. They handle all different types of injuries. If it's a car wreck, if it's a big truck wreck, if it's workers' comp, if it's maritime, offshore injuries, Gordon and his team are experienced. They've helped more than 10,000 Louisiana residents over 30 years, recovering more than $2 billion in damages. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Join us at Pro Dreams in Mandeville for our special event, A Day of Champions. Meet LSU National Championship winning head coaches Jay Johnson, Skip Bertman, and Paul Maneri. Don't miss your chance to purchase authentic sports memorabilia, autographed by the champions themselves. It's the perfect opportunity to celebrate LSU baseball and take home a piece of history. Visit pro-dreams.com to get your tickets. See you there.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Always appreciate our friends Brandon and Adrian Holly over at Relief Windows. They are just the best. Title sponsor of our Monday shows all throughout the year. Of course, if you need windows, doors, siding, or indoor shutters, you want the best. You want Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, we're here at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at L'Auberge. Otter locks in less than 15 minutes from right now. They're gearing up, man. People are starting to file in. The buzz is starting to build a little bit. They're getting set up for our VIP winners over here with their food station, their VIP seating. We're going to have a great time, hopefully watching the Houdatts pull the upset over the Kansas City Chiefs. Every single Monday, Muse, Paulie, and I give you 3 college football takeaways from the weekend. Let's do it. Hit it, Muse.
Another week in the books. What did we learn about the landscape of college football?
All right, it has started here. My guy, Ashton Genty, another huge week for the Boise State running back. Goes for 180 plus again and is now the betting favorite to win the Heisman Trophy at plus 225. He is a top 1,000 yards in 5 games, ties an FBS record. He is ahead of Barry Sanders' record pace and has done it in 35 less carries, is leading the country with 260 yards. All that being said, there's plenty of time to go, but I still do believe he will be a Heisman finalist in New York by the end of the season.
Washington wins the rematch against Michigan. You can't win big college football games without a serviceable passing attack. That's why the Wolverines benched Alex Orji, who had 15 passing yards. They were down 14-0. They turned to Jack Tuttle, who provided immediate spark. He also turned the ball over twice late. Will Rogers threw for 271, pair of first-half touchdowns. The loss snaps Michigan's 24-game Big Ten regular season win streak.
I think Paulie just said that you can't be. What did you say, Paulie? You can't be a contender without a passing. Or what did you say, Paulie?
You can't win big college football games without a serviceable passing attack.
Oh, okay. Because Army and Navy are both undefeated. Take that, Paulie, and shove that serviceable passing attack up your T. Heine there. The service academies would like a word with you, Paul O'Neill. Army and Navy both 5-0, and if you look at the schedule ahead, now Navy and Army are both going to play Notre Dame. For Army, Notre Dame is their only remaining ranked opponent, and if you look at Navy, Notre Dame is also their only remaining ranked opponent. It is possible, and I don't think these teams, either one of them, are going to beat Notre Dame, but it is possible. You need to start wrapping your brain around this. I understand it's 1 week in October, but it is possible that we could be watching the Army-Navy game with a college football playoff spot on the line during Army-Navy. No longer just a cool game that we watch because of the cadets and the midshipmen, a legit game that could have playoff implications when Army and Navy play. An amazing story for those two programs. Long way to go, but take that serviceable passing game and shove it up your T. Heine there, Paulie. Army and Navy said we don't need it.
The SEC is consistently the best conference in college football year in and year out. We all know that. But on certain years, it can be top-heavy. This is not one of those years. This is as deep as the league has ever been. You can go back to Kentucky's upset over Ole Miss, but then this past week, the depth really showed. Vanderbilt, who should be 5-0, upsets Alabama, gets their first top 5 win ever. We've talked plenty about that today. And then Arkansas, for good measure, beats a top 5 team at home for the first time in like 30 years. It was also Tennessee. The depth of this league is astounding this season when Vanderbilt is knocking off the number 1 team in the country.
And Texas A&M put a whooping on Missouri. Texas A&M jumped out to a 34-0 lead at one point. Le'Veon Moss ran for a career-high 138 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's the 5th straight win for Texas A&M and first-year coach Mike Elko after the season opener loss to Notre Dame. Are the Aggies for real? We'll find out.
No, they're not for real. But they have a manageable schedule to keep them relevant. How about Indiana? Hat tip to the Hoosiers, who are 6-0 for the first time since 1957. Stunning. Excuse me. 1967. Sorry, I gave him an extra decade. 1967. First time in 60 years that Indiana is 6-0. They still have tough games ahead. They're still going to play Ohio State. They're going to play Nebraska, Washington, Michigan. So there are tough games ahead. But one of the great stories of the first half of the college football season, the Indiana Hoosiers and Curt Cignetti at 6-0.
Who is Miami? Like, what is that team? It's astounding. They go dominate Florida in the swamp. Florida's obviously terrible. I understand that. But Miami couldn't have looked any better that day. Then they escape against Virginia Tech. Should have lost that game. And then Saturday, they're down 35-10 in the third quarter. I went to sleep, woke up on Sunday, saw they won the game. Who is Miami? I don't really think we know. They obviously have deficiencies, but their schedule is so soft, they could go 12-0. Maybe they're what we all thought Missouri was.
Minnesota with the upset over USC. Minnesota coach P.J. Fleck faced a crucial decision. 4th and goal, the game tied. Max Brosmer powered into the end zone from the 1-yard line with 56 seconds left. That was his 3rd rushing touchdown for the game. Minnesota upsets USC. They fall to 3-2 with their playoff hopes on life support.
The Big 12 without Texas and Oklahoma remains one of the more perplexing things to try to dissect. How about this? Iowa State and BYU are still undefeated, and they have been the beneficiary of all the chaos this weekend as they have risen in the polls to 11 and 14 respectively. But how about this? Texas Tech 3-0 in conference play. West Virginia dominated Oklahoma State this past weekend in Stillwater. And when you look at the teams, the 5 undefeated teams in conference right now, those teams in the preseason were picked to finish 6th, 7th, 9th, 11th, and 13th, respectively. So, whatever. I don't know what the Big 12 is, but I think we need to have a serious conversation about if this league actually deserves an auto bid along with the G5, because I don't think anybody's ain't good. But that's why they play the game. We'll see how it all plays out. All right, there's our college football takeaways from Hughes, Paulie, and me. It is After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here from the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at LeBears. We're brought to you by Optimize, GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. If you're thinking about a Generac automatic home standby generator, it's easy. You call the Generator People. That's Optimize. Go to GeneratorPeople.com. Like, you know, if you need a roof, you call a roofer. Parish. You need a plumber. Plumbing, sir. You toilets backed up. You need a plumber. It's pretty easy. You need a generator. You don't call an HVAC company. You need a generator. You don't call some electrical company. You need a generator. You call the Generator People. That's Optimize. Go to GeneratorPeople.com. They do one thing. They sell, service, install Generac automatic home standby generators. All of their technicians, all they do is work on Generac automatic home standby generators. So if you need a generator, you call the Generator People. Lake Charles to Slidell, anywhere in between on the 10-12 corridor. If you need a generator, you call the Generator People. Go to GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. That's Optimize, GeneratorPeople.com. Okay, y'all, glad you're hanging out with us here, man. Been a really good show. If you missed the open of today's show, we started with Bama is Burning. A lot of people texted me, tweeted me, emailed me over the weekend. Couldn't wait to see what we would do after Bama lost to Vanderbilt, and I hope I did not disappoint. We started the show with it. It was theatrical. Full disclosure, if you have not seen it, go check it out. AFR On Demand, presented by Brett Goff. You can catch that at the AFR LSU YouTube channel. We'll have it on podcast as well. So on your favorite podcast app, you can search After Further Review. We ask you to please subscribe there as well. We'd appreciate it greatly. All right, y'all. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks to wrap up the show when we come back. As we've mentioned pretty consistently throughout the day today, The Saints have been a sharp play, meaning the professional bettors have kind of favored the New Orleans Saints in this game. We played Jaleel Sterling's prediction. Some folks over at the Action Network have put out that the Saints are their sharp play tonight. Otterlocks is up right now if you want to go check it out at LouisianaSports.net. We got a post. He's got a pick on tonight's game and the baseball game. Jimmy's coming up here in just a second. But it's a huge opportunity for New Orleans. I'm not sure I can get there. I'll give you my pick on the game when we come back. We'll get Otterlocks, and I'll give you my pick before we get out of here. But Saints-Chiefs, we're about an hour and a half away from kickoff. You're looking for a place to watch it. Come hang out with us here at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at LeBears in Baton Rouge. All right, final break of the show. We'll come back with Otterlocks and a prediction for Saints-Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Stay here.
After further review.
AFR is brought to you by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions over at Glow Resources. If you're a business owner and you're having trouble finding the right people, you need Glow Resources. They're just the best. They have their corporate headquarters is here in Baton Rouge, but they've got offices in New Orleans, Miami, and so many different places. And they help place people in jobs, the right people in jobs, all over the country and all over the world. At Glow Resources, they differentiate themselves from other third-party companies. They don't just send resumes to send resumes. The candidate needs to meet requirements, your requirements for the job. They're not going to tell you they're going to do it the fastest. They take the time to find the right person over at Glow Resources, which is why they end up with a 93% success rate. It's Glow Resources. If you need to find the right people for the job in your business, you need Glow Resources. Online, GLO, glowresources.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh yeah, they also do interior shutters.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. Monday Night Football, less than an hour and a half from kickoff. Let's find out who we're betting on tonight. Time for Auto Locks.
Auto Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Good, man. How about you?
Man, doing awesome. We're over here at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Good crowd. We'll be watching Monday Night Football tonight with Saints and Chiefs, and so hoping for a good result. Otter, it seems like the Saints are the sharp play tonight. It has me a little leery, but I'm curious where you fall.
Yeah, I'm on the same side. I think it's a field goal game either way. I mean, the Chiefs are, they're just kind of going through the motions. They're having protection issues and just not the same offense that they are. I like the under as well.
Yeah.
And that's the strength of Kansas City's team. And I think the Saints will have some issues protected in Brock and Chris Jones. So, the Chiefs made a run last year, like leaning on their running game and their defense. And, they lost the key cornerback, but they slid their nickel back to the outside, and he's performing well. But, Jones is the key in the middle, and he's going to be a handful for the Saints tonight. So I think it's going to be a real low-scoring game, and I think the Saints defensively really create a lot of issues for Kansas City's offense. So I like the points in the under tonight.
Okay, points in the under. Saints are getting. I'm actually looking at 5.5 right now. I know there's some 5s, but 5.5 you can get it. Shop and grab that 5.5 if you want to roll with New Orleans. A total, Jimmy, looking at 43. Does it sound about right?
Yeah, and the unders, been a fashionable pick. Also, it doesn't want to go through that 6 because underdogs 6 or more in the NFL are just crushing it this year, and including a couple of money line winners yesterday. San Francisco 18, Shanahan double-digit leads below in the fourth quarter since he's been in San Francisco, and all the games that he has won. I mean, that is unbelievable. So, no, I really like it. Baseball game tonight, it's very tough in these 5-game series to go down 2-0. The Royals have a great left-hander on the mound tonight for them. Carlos Rodon has been pretty good lately as well, but I got Cole Reagan coming back plus money in the money line tonight against the Yankees in Game 2.
All right, Otter's going with the Saints and the points. A play on the under as well at 43, and the Royals on the money line tonight, looking at plus 124 for Kansas City. Any other thoughts tonight on the game, or an early thought on LSU Ole Miss this weekend, Jimmy?
The Ole Miss LSU line took a little bit different path than maybe people expected, but it's right where I expected it to be for quite some time. And, that's at 3.5. And Ole Miss being the favorite, I was really, really impressed. Not just the way Ole Miss responded from a 4-week undisciplined game against Kentucky, 3 first-half third down stop penalties to extend drives, to keep their defense on the field that much longer. But their front four, it may be the best in the SEC. And, there's not Georgia is not quite as good as they've been. Bama certainly isn't. Who is? Tennessee's front four's been good. Arkansas moved the ball. Ole Miss just completely shut down South Carolina with their front four. So, that was a surprise. But this will be back-to-back weeks now. Ole Miss going against a team coming off a bye. A rested team, a healthier team, and, man, they sure took care of business in South Carolina. But, feel like old days, man. Saturday night, and now something on the line. With all these teams losing, there's so many teams that, how many people leaving Allegiant Stadium thought that LSU would be right back in the mix at this point? But here they are. So so is Ole Miss, even after that Kentucky loss. But it's really going to be hard for the team that loses this game.
Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
We're at Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee, just off of Nicholson.
Cool. Guys will be, no doubt, recapping Monday Night Football, the baseball action as well. Otter, we appreciate it.
All right, Matt. Good luck.
All right, we appreciate it. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Title sponsor of our Monday shows. Love telling you about them as always. If you're looking for windows to help increase your home's resale value, beautify the exterior of your home, lower your energy bills. There's so many ways that those beautiful replacement windows from Relief Windows can help you. Learn more at ReliefWindows.com. That's ReliefWindows.com. Okay, y'all, only thing I got left to do is give you a pick on tonight's ball game. I do like Kansas City to win it. I think there is probably a strong, sensible play on taking the Saints in the points. 5's a lot, especially considering Kansas City just has really struggled offensively, and I think the Saints defense, even being thin at linebacker in this game tonight, not having Pete Werner, not having Willie Gay, I do think the Saints secondary is plenty good enough to limit KC, certainly with them not having Rashee Rice. Mecole Hardman was questionable for this game. We'll see if he goes. It sounds like he will go for Kansas City, but how effective will he be remains to be seen. I just like the Saints defense, and I have real questions about the Kansas City offense right now, which is weird to say, but the flip side is also true, where the Saints offensively, man, I just can't get over what we always talk about with teams replacing their starting center. And for the Saints, this will be the third consecutive game where they've started a new center. Shane Lemieux went to IR. Connor McGovern's been with the Saints less than a week, and he's probably going to be starting this game tonight at center. It's just so hard for me to look at that and think that we're going to see a resemblance of the Saints offense we saw the first 2 weeks. We felt like we saw some flashes of it last week in the first half against Atlanta, and then Taysom Hill went out with injury, and the second half was a mess, quite honestly. Now you got to go on the road, a place where Derek Carr is 1-8 all time at Arrowhead Stadium, prime time. It's so much to go against the Chiefs. So I think the Saints are going to win. If I was going to play this game, I would not play the total. I would lean toward the under. As a matter of fact, I do have a play on the under in the game. I think we're going to see a little bit of a slower pace slugfest and slodging night tonight, really dominated by both defenses. But see how it plays out. Come join us here at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at LeBears. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
As we get on down the road, let me remind you about our friends over at, Parrish Construction and Roofing. Our friends, that's me, that's Terrio, that's Richard Tilley, Joe Morales, Trent Davis. It's our great staff, all of our friends over there at Parrish Construction and Roofing. Went by the office earlier today, got some of the gift bags for our VIP winners, have some Parrish swag in them, not only the Parrish hat, but Parrish Cajun seasoning as well. Hey, look. We'd love to have a good time, and we love to help people that are in our communities. And I want to remind you, if you are in a spot where you need a roof, but you're struggling financially, even if it's struggling to pay your insurance deductible, at Parrish, we have financing options available. So don't let cost get in the way of getting the new roof that you need. Let us walk you through the options. It's Parrish Construction and Roofing. Go to parrishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Go to parrishbuilt.com.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206